evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the RGW podcast, the Regular Guys Wrestling podcast. We're back. We're bold. It's been much too long since we've been together to chat about wrestling, but we're here and we're ready to go. Again, my name's James, one of the hosts here, and I'm sitting, as always, next to my good buddy Eric. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well, James. James, how long has it been since we recorded episode 7?
Well, episode 7 was, last week. The reason we couldn't do it last week, and we were actually going to do a podcast with a special guest, but unfortunately life got in the way, so that didn't happen. So I want to apologize for that. But Eric, he decided it'd be a good idea to go on vacation instead of staying in town and doing the podcast for our fans. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm sorry, fans, but Cancun was awesome.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, it was great. We talk in Celsius up here, but what was it? It was probably -5 on average out here, Celsius.
Probably something like that.
And I'd say on average in Cancun, it was probably around 26 degrees.
26, yeah.
Nice and hot, a little bit of a breeze. It was gorgeous. Had a great time.
Yeah, probably would that'd be about maybe 80, 85 Fahrenheit probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I'm not 100% certain, but
it was gorgeous. Yeah, you just gotta you multiply it by 2 and add 32. So it's on.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, I think so.
No, it doesn't. Oh, I guess that might make sense then. Yeah. It's because 26, that'd be 52 plus 32. Yeah, okay, 84.
Yeah, sounds about right. So yeah, it was awesome. Wow. Loved it, and life gets in the way as well. James is looking for a new house, and
we're trying to sell. It's a stressful business. This buying and selling.
It gets in the way of a little bit of podcasting, but we find our way to record our stories and voices for you guys.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah. Cool. So we're looking forward to having a good conversation about wrestling. It's Wrestlemania week.
Are we less than 48 hours away, James?
Well, what's the date today?
We are Saturday, March 31st, 10 o'clock p.m.
It's not Saturday.
Oh, we are right. It's Friday. Yeah. It's Friday.
March the 31st.
March 31st.
Yeah, the day
10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
Well, so be it. But regardless, we are less than 48 hours away.
We are, yeah. It's this time, 48 hours from now, WrestleMania should be over.
Yeah. In fact, I believe as we speak, DDP was on, so they've got.
Kurt Angle would be the last one, no?
Yeah, Kurt Angle's the last to be inducted tonight, so yeah, they're probably almost done inducting their Hall of Famers tonight.
Yeah. So you were watching a bit of the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I watched about the first 50 minutes, that is, and Diamond Dallas Page was talking up a storm. Really entertaining stuff. I really enjoyed it. I intend on finishing it maybe tomorrow, or at least a good portion of it. But so far, so good. Really enjoying the Hall of Fame so far. So
how was Rick Rude's induction? Did you get a chance to see that one?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
DDP was the first guy.
Oh, is that right?
They kicked off with DDP. So I have a feeling that the others, excluding maybe Angle, will be shorter speeches. But yeah.
You know, I don't know why, but you were telling me about Kurt Angle. I'm sorry, DDP, and you were telling me about his induction, and you were telling me that he was going quite long. For some reason, I thought that he was second to last.
No, and you know what? I had a feeling they were going to start off with DDP. Start off with someone strong,
sure.
End with someone strong.
Yeah.
You don't want to start off with. Not that I'm saying anyone's a snoozer,
right.
But maybe, including myself. Somebody that doesn't have a lot of knowledge on the is it the Rock and Roll Express?
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to start off with them. You might have some younger audience members that are starting to snooze. In fact, if you watch it, it looks like Shawn Michaels is almost sleeping. I'd say about 45 minutes into DDP's speech when they point over to Kevin Nash and Michaels is sitting beside him. Michaels' eyes are closed and his head's lowered. I don't know if he was just doing it out of respect to kind of allow the light to shine more on Kevin Nash. That actually could very well be, but he looked like he was sleeping. Didn't look so good, but yeah, no. So I think the Hall of Fame is going to be really good this year.
Cool. I think that's a good idea too. Like they kind of like doing a bookend, 2 bookends, right?
Yeah.
You got a top dude on the one side, and then you've got, not to diminish their who they are, of course, but you've got the middle section, and then end off strong, obviously, with your headliner being Kurt Angle. So
absolutely, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you want to keep him strong, right?
yeah, I'll have to check some of that out tomorrow, maybe, and see what's going on.
Yeah, I can't guarantee I'm going to watch the whole thing, but
Sure.
I'm certainly interested in watching the remainder of the DDP, the Rick Rude, Kurt Angle. I think I'll watch. Who else is being inducted?
And that's just the Rock and Rolls. I think that's
Rock
it.
and Roll, and for female they have.
Beth Phoenix. Yeah.
Beth Phoenix. I think I'll watch Beth's as well.
Yeah.
So
Kind of interesting that Rick Rude is being inducted by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh.
Yeah. They had a really good feud in WCW, but aside from that, like I wasn't really aware of anything else that was really huge, like where their paths really crossed. But I guess if they must have had, the feud must have been big. I never really saw much of it.
I even found, to be honest, and I'm sticking by this, I found Bischoff inducting DDP. He does a very good job.
Yeah.
But you'll hear based on the stories, I'm sure, although DDP said, it sounds like the number one guy would have actually been Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm not sure why Eric Bischoff was number 2. I swear maybe even someone like Kevin Nash would have been more suitable just based on everything. But, they apparently became friends. They're not best friends, but they became friends. So anyways, Bischoff did a very good job, I found.
Just the little bit I saw there, I wonder if not necessarily a bad choice would have been Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he would have done an awesome job as
Would
well.
have been a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read an article actually this week referring to Chris Jericho as the real Mr. WrestleMania.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, which I kind of agree with to a certain extent for sure.
Yeah, it's always arguable. I don't know. Yeah, I never really saw Shawn as Mr. WrestleMania. I kind of saw Undertaker as Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The guy that never lost at WrestleMania.
Right.
But teach their own.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big Michaels fans out there. So
Yeah. So cool. Well, I guess we should get right to it. What do we want to do first? Do we want to?
Well, we're gonna do the regular as of right now. We're gonna kick off the show with our rumors of the week, guys. We have 16 rumors for you today.
16 rumors.
Sweet 16. So touching. And we got some pretty cool topics of discussion today, including one that's certainly going to suit the WrestleMania theme. We're gonna quickly run by every match. I mean, quick, 1 or 2 lines, and give our quick opinion on who we think is going to win each match.
I'm all over that.
Which will be nice, and we have not discussed, so it's going to be ad hoc. I'm enjoying that. And lastly, of course, we're going to run by our review / recap of Monday Night Raw and finish off with our Raw S&M. So
Sweet.
Let's get things started.
All right, cool. So let me actually scroll back up here to the top rumors.
Way to go. Way to be prepared there, James.
All right. Yeah, hey, I'm Mr. Preparation. All right. So number 1 rumor here, AJ Styles is expected to resume his place in the SmackDown title picture following WrestleMania. I, for one, am extremely happy to hear this, if in fact this rumor is true, which you have to think it is.
Yeah, I would hope so. It's kind of gotten to the point where Styles is a main eventer. I don't believe him facing Shane is worthy of where he should be, and it sounds like others feel the same way. I was listening to Austin's podcast, and he tried to do it the most politically correct way, but in a nutshell, he said, why is AJ facing Shane at WrestleMania? And I can't recall which host he had on.
He had Court Bauer.
Court Bauer, thank you. But Court basically said, and I agree, it's because of the brand split. Because if there was no brand split, you could have easily put AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, who doesn't really have anyone either. So that's what happens. They almost should have allowed a cross promo there, but instead they put Shane against him. I guess that's what happens. They might, I think, we'll discuss this, but I think it'll be a good match. It'll be entertaining, but I think Shane has limitations. You say it best. he's a faller. He's good at falling, whereas AJ's good at almost everything, right?
At the end of the day, Shane McMahon is not an athlete.
No, he's not.
No.
And he'll probably admit that very much so.
Yeah. And he's obviously in good shape.
Yeah.
I'd say he's in better shape probably now than he was 7 or 8 years ago.
He looks more jacked now, eh?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Like, you can see in his forearms.
Yeah, he does different training now. Yeah, he was more lanky back in the day.
Yeah, actually, even I think his face was a little fatter. His neck was a little fatter. Like, he was, he's definitely, his training has gone through the roof. I think he does a lot of kind of like almost like an MMA style training. Like workouts and stuff.
Well, his dad would have a lot of knowledge, right? Vince has always been huge into lifting as well.
Lifting and bodybuilding and stuff. So obviously there's a background there. He can help him with that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Vince and you got John Cena not far off to give you advice as well. You know, there's all that around you. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. He looks very good.
Yeah, he looks good. And I agree with you as well that I think it'll be an entertaining match. Unfortunately, I just wish that AJ had an actual wrestling opponent.
I'll be honest with you too, and if you watch the red carpet before the Hall of Fame, really observe when they ask him how he feels about his match, and if you Renee Young, I believe.
No, I'm sorry, Styles
asks
or
AJ Styles.
Oh, Styles. Okay, yeah.
How he feels about wrestling Shane McMahon, you know, the boss's son. You know, she tries to make it sound cool, and I can tell in his face he isn't ecstatic about it. He's happy to be in a WWE. Sure. He's happy it's the second WrestleMania, but I 100% could tell that he is not ecstatic. He was kind of like, well, I'm just happy to be. You know, I never thought I'd even be in WrestleMania. Is how he answered. Mm-hmm. It's not, I never thought I'd be able to wrestle Shane McMahon. Mm-hmm. That's because it's Shane McMahon, right? Yeah. You know, so be it. You know, at least he's got a match. He could have easily have been like Samoa Joe and have nothing.
Yeah, he's not even in. I don't even think Samoa Joe's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, is he?
I don't believe so. He's just highly expected to interfere, apparently, in and I think this might be in the rumors, but in Triple H, Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there's no rumor that he'll be interfering in Jericho and Kevin Owens. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they're talking more about Triple H. You'll notice that Samoa Joe is intertwined in two different storylines here. Yeah. Very interesting on that part. But who knows?
We'll see. But again, it'll be an entertaining match. I'm sure there's going to be a big fall, a big drop of some sort.
Oh yeah, I do believe so.
Yeah. Cool.
Right on.
What's up next?
Baron Corbin is likely going to win the Intercontinental Championship from Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania, as WWE officials are still high on him and they want to push him to the top by the end of the year. I agree. And I've been saying this for a while. I could definitely see Baron Corbin defeating Dean Ambrose. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm definitely off the Ambrose bandwagon through and through. I almost really can't really stand him very much anymore. And I'm on the Corbin bandwagon. I know you are as well. He was actually at the red carpet. Good interview as well. A couple of minutes. Really good. Smart guy.
Yeah, he's come a long way in a year or a year and a bit. But I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't walk out of WrestleMania with the Intercontinental belt. Unfortunately, Ambrose, he hasn't even defended it. If Tyler the Mind was here, he would be he hates the fact that the Intercontinental title has not been defended in. I don't even remember the last time.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. But no, I'd be very surprised if Corbin doesn't run out. This has been a pretty good feud over the last little while. It kind of started at the Elimination Chamber. It kind of progressed on SmackDown. So I think it's definitely going to be. I think it'll be a good match. I
don't think you're going to see Dean Ambrose with gold around his waist, period, for a very long time.
No, I don't either. Now, like the way they're going with Roman Reigns and the way they've gone now with Seth Rollins. At one point, I was almost wondering, I wonder if they will do some trades and potentially maybe add him back to the Shield. or rather create the Shield again. But I really don't see that happening.
No.
That was kind of a thought that I had at one point, and I think that was maybe, I don't know if that was necessarily a rumor. I know that there have been some people online that have said they'd like to see it, or thought it would be the best, but I just don't see it happening either.
I don't think if Seth would have lost, if Seth wouldn't have been injured the first time, I don't even think Dean Ambrose would be a world champ to this day.
No, I mean, obviously that changed a lot. That changed the direction of
It did.
where things needed to go, right? Like, I think Rollins, I think he probably would have held the belt he would have held it a long time.
It's good they had Ambrose. He was a good filler position, because I'm not sure where they would have gone without him. They would have to go on, like, Sheamus again. Like, it was getting kind of scarce at one point there. But it is what it is, you know.
No, it's true. It's true. So, yeah, Baron Corbin walking out with the IC belt. And they're saying, you think they're going to push him to the top by the end of the year? Like, push him to the world title? Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Wow.
I could see it. I think they're high on him. The way he was talking at the red carpet, he was bragging that he knocked Braun Strowman out of the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was wicked. I loved it. Very assertive, very confident. It was good stuff. And
you know what? To be honest, that does make sense, because they do need another main event star right now. Because who do you really have at the top? You've got AJ Styles, of course. You've got Bray Wyatt, who's the champ. You've got Randy Orton. And that's it.
I already want to see Baron Corbin as a cool face soon. I really keep him as a heel for a bit, but I think he's got the it factor. See, that's all I had to do with Roman Reigns. They just had to turn him heel, and then the fans may have grown on him, and then they'd want to see him face. Yeah. And they're starting to do that, I do believe, especially at the red carpet ceremony where they interviewed Roman. Roman was quite good on the mic, and he definitely had a heel side to him there. You know, he talks better when you're a heel. So whatever. See where they go with Roman, but I think they're going the right direction with Corbin right now.
And obviously it sounds like they started at the right point with him as well, which is good.
Yeah,
I like that. Good. And he's got amazing moves.
He does.
I love the deep six.
Deep six.
Love the end of days.
End of days.
I think those are the two. Like the end of days is cool.
Yeah.
But the deep six, like it's so basic, but it's a cool move. Like when he hits it, it's just basically a backdrop, kind of spins around. But I guess because he's so tall and lanky, and the way when he picks the guy up, he just swings him around. It's just a cool looking move.
Yeah. And
it just looks like it has so much impact, which is,
I'd say, one of the most improved of this. Of 2016, maybe you could say, or 17.
I'd say between definitely between WrestleManias.
Yeah,
because he won the Andre the Giant. Battle Royal last year and didn't really do a whole lot for a while.
No, he wasn't at that stage yet, but they used it to kick him off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
good.
It's good stuff. Cool. All right, next on the docket here, we've got a rumor about Asuka from NXT. There's some talk that she could be used in the SmackDown Women's title match at WrestleMania 33, but it wouldn't act as a main roster call-up. There's apparently no plans to promote Asuka from NXT to the main roster anytime soon. I think that's okay, because they've got a pretty solid women's division on SmackDown. If anywhere they need some new blood in the women's division, it's on Raw.
Yeah, it's on Raw, and I'll be honest with you, Asuka does nothing for me.
No, hey?
No, I don't like her gimmick. She can't really talk. There's a huge language barrier. I just find her very gimmicky. I don't know. Don't like it. Don't like the gimmick. Find it really weird. Even her entrance music's weird. I don't really like anything about her.
Yeah, could be one of those people like we've seen a few times now where they're awesome in NXT. It works in NXT, works with the NXT crowd, but that doesn't necessarily translate to the national network TV, huge Raw and SmackDown crowds.
See, the only difference is, I'm not just saying it because she's not from North America. Right. I actually think Shinsuke Nakamura I actually think this, and it's kind of torn. I think he's going to do very well when he comes to the main roster. Some people think he won't. But at first, I didn't quite understand his gimmick, but it's kind of grown on me, and it's kind of fresh. And I think actually he will do well.
Well, now Nakamura's gimmick is it's unlike anything you've really seen before, right?
Not a huge fan of the term King of Strong Style because you're clearly admitting wrestling's a work when you say that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when you say that. But, yeah, he wrestles stiffer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like it. I think he'll do well. Just something about Asuka, I don't quite feel it in regards to her.
No, and I agree. I'm not a huge fan. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see what they do with her. Yeah. In the meantime, at least she's on NXT, and they can utilize her there
for sure. Actually, just as a side note on the SmackDown Women's title, I was reading an article today, and it was just talking about some rumored things about the SmackDown Women's title match, and I'm sure we'll chat about it in a bit. But they actually referred to the SmackDown's women's title match as the six-pack challenge.
No way.
Yeah, man.
You love that term.
I love that term, the six-pack challenge. That was your favorite match.
Oh my God. What? Speaking of the women, what was it? There was Enzo Cass and what was her name that used to be with them?
Carmella.
Carmella. I just found this out today. I didn't know Carmella and Big Cass are a thing. In real life,
yeah, I believe so.
They absolutely are.
Yeah.
I was at the red carpet.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and they were beside each other, and I'm like, hey, usually it's either dates or parents and they start talking about when they're together at home, and in between, I'm like, oh, neat. Yeah. So they're absolutely together.
Yeah, you know what? And I think I knew that, but I had completely forgotten about that. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Neat. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think I remember him talking about it on a podcast, because especially now that they're on different brands,
okay,
a little bit different. Like, obviously they're not really traveling as much together anymore.
They even made a joke. They go to Cass, and you got to keep an eye on Carmella's other man there. And he's like, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on him. As long as they just stay friends, they'll be all right.
Well, James Ellsworth, he's a player.
Yeah, that Ellsworth, eh? So I don't know who would win in a fight, Ellsworth or Big Cass.
Ellsworth or Big Cass? I don't know. I think Ellsworth would give him a run for his money.
Exactly.
Totally.
Watch out, Ellsworth. All right, next up. Big surprise here. WWE does not have any plans to utilize Mick Foley once again after he heals up from his hip surgery. So, I seem to discuss this on almost every podcast. I 1000% agree. I think Mick's done with the company. He'll probably continue his Holy Foley and maybe some other WWE specials, but I think he is done as Raw general manager and any other on-air roles.
Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't see him coming back. Well, I mean, obviously he's definitely done as the Raw general manager, but and where else does he fit, right? He doesn't really fit anywhere. So he'll probably still do the Holy Foley thing. I know Noelle, right? She still wants to train to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll still be involved in that. And you if anything, you might see if she makes it to let's say NXT. Let's just say one day she makes it to NXT. Maybe you'll see him there in like her corner at one point.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna see him. He's not going to be invisible in the WWE scene.
But he won't have like an actual story role.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense. No, I totally agree with that too.
Yeah. So I think that's basically it for Foley when it comes to
I agree.
Regular TV time on Raw or SmackDown.
Did you listen to him? I never did, but did you listen to him on Jericho's podcast at all?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing. I had to because it was the biggest podcast ever.
That's what he said for 8 months or whatever.
No, it was a full year and 2 days or 3 days.
Was it that long ago that he announced it?
It was. Jericho said it was supposed to be a full 365 days, no more, no less. And Jericho laughed. He's like, yeah, we're nice and organized. So it's actually 1 year and 3 days. So it was funny. It was good. It was actually quite entertaining. Obviously, Trevor probably the most. It doesn't live up to what the biggest podcast ever should be. But I thought it was quite good. It was very entertaining.
Well, I know I heard Foley on Steve Austin's podcast. It's probably about...
That sucked.
You didn't like it?
Didn't like it.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
That was at the mall. They were at a mall. on
Maybe
Steve.
it was a different one I heard then.
Oh,
'Cause I don't think he was at a mall.
Yeah. There was. I'm fairly confident that Austin was at some sort of a mall because it was also you could watch it. I believe on WWE's.
No, this was before that. I think he was on once before.
Okay, sorry, I'm talking about a different one.
Before, because Steve Austin, yeah, he's been on the WWE Network there.
Okay.
With the podcast on like after Raw or whatever. 'Cause
Right.
You're right. He was on Austin's podcast probably right around WrestleMania last year. Actually, I think.
Is that when it was?
I think it was right.
'Cause I
around
wasn't
that
a big fan of that podcast. In fact, I thought Mick was really off.
That was the one that he had Noelle on there as well, right? Like she came
really?
down, I think.
Mick sounded kind of grumpy or something, if I can recall.
I don't know.
I don't know. You know, not everyone always has an on day.
Maybe he needed a Snickers.
Oh God, we're gonna be hearing so much of that during WrestleMania.
We're also going to be hearing a lot about Georgia Gold KFC.
Oh God, and we're gonna start ranting, and we're gonna get a lot of New Day, and we're gonna hear a lot of green light, ready to go. Oh God,
Give me the green light.
oh God. Should have almost made that a topic of discussion.
Ugh.
Why is there so much hip hop and pop being utilized today?
Oh, always.
And no more rock,
No,
no more metal.
No more rock or metal.
But to each their own
I
taste.
can't even remember the last time they had like a rock. Probably Motorhead was probably the last time. And how long ago would that have been?
Yeah.
When Triple H or Evolution maybe? So
I was going to mention later, but
many years?
I might as well mention it now.
Sure.
They are going to use Metallica, a song from Metallica's new album.
Which
so.
one? Oh, yes, I knew that.
Yeah. So I think that's for the Triple H Seth Rollins feud.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, Am I Savage?
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's your favorite
pretty
song
cool.
off the album, isn't it?
One of them.
One of them, yeah.
One of the favorite ones.
Right.
So Spit Out the Bone is one of my favorites. And,
Yeah, Spit Out the Bone's a great song.
And
if you haven't listened to Metallica's new album,
I think James and I could just start talking about Metallica, but we're not going to because that would be a whole different
podcast, and we have enough to talk about here this evening regarding wrestling. We won't bring
to make this story short. I like most of the songs on that album. They're all very good. What do we got for the next one, James?
All right, here. After that, we've got there's once again reports floating around that the Undertaker is in a lot of pain, and there's concern within WWE. Which, man, you shared a picture of the Undertaker. I don't know, how long ago do you think that picture was?
I think that picture of him in the airport sitting there with the camo hat.
Right.
I think that was from a year, maybe a year ago.
And it was like his hair was white.
Yeah, and I asked James and a few of our friends to guess who do you guys think this is? And it was basically one of the top 5 photos that, according to some clickbait website, WWE didn't want you to see or find out about. And I'd seen most of them, the Katie Vick photo and all those, those ridiculous photos. And but this one I'd never seen before. And it's of the Undertaker in an airport in like beige shorts, some regular shoes, a regular green T-shirt, and like a camo hat, and he's kind of just giving the devil horns or something.
Yeah, he's kind of giving like the rock on kind
rock
of thing.
on.
Yeah.
And he's looking up, and I look at it, and I'm like, I can barely tell this is the Undertaker, and I'm gonna send it and see if they can guess. And yeah, James had trouble. Who did you think it was at first?
I had absolutely no idea. And then even when somebody said something about the dead man, I laughed because I'm like, he does kind of look like a zombie, that guy.
Yeah, it's Mark Calloway.
I still didn't know it was the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Man. But, so they're apparently concerned within WWE. And as usual, the belief is that this year's WrestleMania will be the Undertaker's last. I think that's actually true. Another guy we know, a friend of Eric's there who we chat with, and basically had come back and said, they've been talking about that for the last 6 years, but I think this will be it.
Well, based on his health alone, yes, they've been saying that the last 6 years, but let's face it, when he fought Shawn Michaels twice and Triple H twice, he still did a stellar job.
Yeah.
I think people were just saying he's almost done, as in he's going to leave on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about him leaving because he just can't move anymore. It's a whole different factor, right? And again, I think we said this last podcast, but he did an okay job when he fought Bray. But since then, I don't know, all of the matches he's had with Lesnar, like when he was in the cell with Lesnar, he wasn't doing good, and now he has trouble just going on one knee. Just I don't know. He's in rough shape.
Yeah,
Needs hip surgery, I believe, replacement.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that probably is a lot of just big guys end up needing things like hip surgery or knee surgery or what have you, and compound that with a guy that's been wrestling for. I mean, he's wrestled with WWE for 20. This will be 27 years this year.
Right.
At Survivor Series since he debuted at in WWE or WWF at the time. But he wrestled before that. He wrestled in the NWA for a while, probably a few years before that. So he's probably been wrestling for close to 30 years altogether. And a guy that's 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". I'm not exactly sure how tall he is. But, I mean, he's just a big man. So, his joints are, I'm sure, just giving out on him.
Yeah, he's done a lot of bumps in the past and whatnot. And, yeah, we saw him at the Royal Rumble not too long ago, and he was in rough shape.
Yeah,
he had trouble moving around.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he may last another year and wrestle next year. If it does happen, I really hope it's against John Cena this time.
God, I hope that's how he ends it, because that's how it should have ended. But I have a feeling that he wants to end it with someone newer now, and maybe not somebody that's been around for so long.
Yeah.
I don't. It would have just fit so much better if it was Cena.
Yeah, it could be. I know, like back in the day, like WrestleMania 3. For example, it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Like, Hulk Hogan was the champion, right, in that match. And Andre the Giant was the challenger. And Hulk Hogan beat him. And they refer to that as the passing of the torch. Even though Hulkamania was already running wild, they refer to that as the passing of the torch.
Because Andre was around for so long.
He had been around for so long. He was so well respected.
Hogan was nothing for a long time when Andre was red hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when Andre was red hot, like we're talking, late 70s, early 80s.
Sure.
Like Hulk Hogan he was just kind of starting. He was in the AWA. He was in the WWF for a bit, and then he did the Rocky movie. Then he came back to the WWF, and then of course then Hulkamania started to beat the Iron Sheik. And Hulkamania was huge, and by WrestleMania 3, Hulkamania was massive. So it's odd to think that Andre was passing any sort of a torch.
Sure.
Like at that point, it almost seems like Hogan already had the torch.
Yeah.
Like there was no torch to pass. So, anyways, that said, I wonder if Undertaker being wrestling against the younger guy, even though arguably it's a bit of a different situation. Roman Reigns doesn't really have the torch per se, but he's young, right? So he could certainly potentially carry that torch, whether he's the heel, whether he's a face.
Yeah, he would certainly benefit from beating Taker.
He would, absolutely. Yeah. As much as I don't think anyone I shouldn't say anyone. I don't think as much as a lot of people, you and me included, really want to see Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker.
No.
I guess in a way it would make sense.
It's just odd that Taker ended his career with 2 losses at WrestleMania, as you had said in the last podcast, to the great Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
It's strange.
It is strange.
Put Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns' credentials side by side.
Yeah.
And that basically says it all when it comes to that.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll see.
All right. Well, on to some next big rumor. The Spirit Squad, who returned to WWE late last year, have been removed from the SmackDown Live roster.
Did you even know they were on the SmackDown Live roster?
No. I'll be honest. I'll be dead honest with all of our fans. This may be the worst rumor that we've ever said on this podcast. To the point where I think we should just move on to the next rumor, James.
That actually sounds fine to me.
Goodbye, Henny and Spenny or whatever. Kenny and Spenny.
Kenny
and Spenny.
Mikey and Nikki was...
And Dolph Ziggler.
Ziggler.
Goodbye, Dolph Ziggler.
Goodbye, Dolphy.
The burial of Dolph Ziggler. Don't worry, the podcast won't be called that one.
No, sorry, Ziggler.
Maybe Sami Zayn part 2.
Oh, my goodness. Poor Sammy.
Poor Sami Zayn.
Okay. Did you want to read the next one?
Okay.
Go for it.
Since I didn't get to read too much there.
No, exactly.
So it's possible that the great redhead herself, Eva Marie, could be done with WWE. As Wrestling Inc. claims, she's moved on from wrestling and the company with possible goals of going into acting. And WWE isn't planning to re-sign her when her contract expires. She's also not expected to make any appearances for WWE during WrestleMania weekend, furthering the idea she's done with the company. Thoughts, James?
Well,
I know she's classically not well liked backstage. I don't know if that's improved with time. She used to had a lot of heat in the locker room, I hear.
Yeah, I don't really know why she would have had the heat. Did she have, I guess, was there maybe an error about her? Did she feel that she was kind of better than everyone else? I'm not really.
Could have maybe been a jealousy
in
thing.
tune with that.
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
She's pretty and all. So
yeah. I know a lot of people didn't really think much of her wrestling ability, but I think
she's improved. I've heard.
Well, she trained with Brian Kendrick after she was injured there a couple of years ago, and from everything that I hear. I don't think I ever saw her wrestle in NXT, but she did wrestle in NXT, and it sounds like her skill has definitely improved, and she had instant heat.
Maybe she's just either tired of wrestling altogether, or maybe she feels like maybe she just feels that she's not being utilized correctly.
Well, she got that. She was suspended for wellness last year.
Yeah,
she was.
You're right.
They brought her back, and she was kind of doing this little shtick where she was going to wrestle, and then something always happened, right, where she couldn't wrestle. One time something, I don't remember what happened. The only thing I remember is one time she was going to wrestle, but then the back of her dress broke or something, so she couldn't wrestle.
Oh, that was a strange gimmick.
Yeah, and then the turnbuckle broke or something. I don't know if that's even true, but something broke in the ring and she couldn't wrestle. So that happened for 3 or 4 weeks, and then she got this wellness thing, and I know her husband went off on Instagram about it, saying that it was unfair and this and that, and the truth would come out. I don't know if the truth ever did come out.
Maybe she just didn't think that she was being utilized correctly. Similar to that and this wasn't even written down, but Jack Swagger apparently is done with WWE as well.
Oh yeah, he's been released. He's gone.
Yeah, and he as well didn't feel that he was being utilized correctly. Yeah. So maybe that's maybe it's a similar line of that. Maybe she felt that she wasn't being given proper opportunity like some of the other women certainly have, right? Maybe she wanted to be at the level of where Charlotte is right now, and she certainly isn't, right? So who knows? Maybe she just felt that she wasn't going to get to where she wanted to be. You know what? I'm just going to become an actor.
Maybe, yeah. And with that, it doesn't lead me to believe that she when it comes to like Jack Swagger and when it comes to Cody Rhodes, like obviously wrestling is their life. They're passionate about wrestling because what are they doing outside of WWE? They are wrestling. They're going to wrestle for other companies. Cody Rhodes is killing it in New Japan. He's killing it. Well, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like he's doing really well on Impact.
Yeah, he'll be back in WWE.
It'll probably come full circle, and he'll kind of develop himself more. And
that's what that's what you got to do. You got to leave if you're not where you want to be, and then you come back. Like it's gonna be announced, but like even just the Hardy Boys, like doing what they did, like with Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's, I think he's a hotter commodity than his brother Jeff now. And which is really weird.
It's really funny because Jeff was always the top.
Always. Everyone knows
overshadowed
that. Matt and Jeff even know that. It was always Jeff. And now, things change.
Yeah.
Things change. So
totally. All right.
Speaking
of the Hardy Boys, the Hardy Boys online store may have been closed because of their pending move to WWE. It's also rumored that we may even see the Hardys make an appearance in the Raw Tag Team Championship Triple Threat Ladder match at WrestleMania, and they could even walk out as the Tag Team Champions. Now, that might be a little tricky to explain how they've been somehow entered into the tag team match.
Yeah.
But since when does logic get in the way? when we're talking about the WWE sometimes.
Especially when it's two. Well, I'd call them legends at this stage.
Hardy
Easily,
Boys?
yeah, easily.
Yeah, everyone knows the Hardy. Everyone in wrestling knows who Matt and Jeff Hardy are.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame, right? So, when you got two guys at that level, I'm sure they would easily throw them in and just throw the belts around them.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I am not interested in that triple threat ladder match. I don't know. That match isn't going to be very good in my opinion.
What my thought is going to be, I do not see the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania. I just don't.
Okay.
But I do see them showing up on Raw. I do see them challenging the winners of the Raw Tag Team Championship match and beating them for the belts.
That sounds logical.
Yeah. And I don't see them on SmackDown because the tag team division on SmackDown is such a mess. The Usos, who won the tag team championships on SmackDown against American Alpha, have been entered in the Andre the Giant
Yes.
Battle Royal.
What an embarrassment.
Like the tag team champions of SmackDown, they're not even defending the belts. There isn't even a SmackDown tag team title or a tag team match. Period.
This dumb. I was going to mention this later, but why not throw it in now? Another match that didn't make it to WrestleMania. Brian Kendrick and Tozawa. They've been building that match for weeks on end.
Yes.
What do? They throw it on 205 Live 2 days ago, I believe. I watched a 4-minute.
Right?
I watched a 4-minute version of the match today at work, and I gotta say, you guys will remember me saying this about Tozawa the first time you and I talked about him. I wasn't impressed by him. I thought he was plain. Akira Tozawa is really entertaining. He's wicked.
Yeah.
He's wicked. His abs are cool, but man, he is stiff. He is fast. He's nuts. Like watch the match with him and Brian Kendrick.
Yeah.
Some of the moves he wanted to do that German, snap German.
Yeah.
He was gonna do the snap German off the top turnbuckle. The crowd, including the commentators, are like, "Oh my god!" It would have been insane.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
Right.
Kendrick wrapped his legs, but you should have seen. He's doing his ass, and he's looking at the crowd, taunting that he was gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my god, is he gonna do this snap German off the top turnbuckle?"
That's
didn't
crazy.
get it, but the fact that he had my interest in this 205 Live match, I'm like, why isn't this on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
And hate to spoil it, Kendrick won. Like he kind of cheated. He threw him into the unexposed turnbuckle,
or the exposed.
Yeah, my apologies, the exposed one, but yeah, he rolled him up, James.
Oh,
he rolled him up. Yeah,
and I'm sure he squirmed out of the ring immediately.
Yeah, but I thought, and that was lesson number 9. Anything could be used as a weapon, is what he said. Very odd. But I thought there was going to be 2 cruiserweight matches. That one, and
it seemed like
Neville.
That's what they were building. Hey,
certainly looked that way, and they don't have room, so I could tell they just threw it on 205 Live. There's no special, just ruins it, ruins the feel.
That's unfortunate. I mean, that you're hoping for a big payoff.
Yeah.
Because the feud itself. I mean, I haven't seen 205 Live, but on Raw, the feud itself, it wasn't necessarily a bad feud. I wasn't extremely engaged in it. But you would hope that there's going to be some sort of a big payoff. So it's unfortunate that it's a WrestleMania season. The payoff couldn't have been at WrestleMania.
They want guys, they want people to watch 205 Live.
Right.
And I'm finally getting interested in some guys. Akira Tozawa, Brian Kendrick, Neville, of course, our guy.
Yep.
Austin Aries, even Jack Gallagher. Mm-hmm. I just named 5 people.
Sure.
When you and I started this podcast, I could only think of Neville that I was interested in. So I'm starting to get some interest in some of these guys. Mm-hmm. Others, God, no. There's no interest in some of those people.
Noam Dar?
No to Noam Dar.
Tony Nese's abs?
He has potential.
Yeah.
He does. He's got some power, some speed. fairly impressive. I'm kind of interested in him. He's got some potential. And then there's who's the first time champ there, Mr.
TJ Perkins, Mr. Video Games.
You know, he's got some speed to him, but he's all rehearsed and all of his moves are the same every time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm not. But what I'm getting at is that they're finally growing some interest, even just on me, when it comes to 205 Live. And what do? They deduct one of their main feuds from the Wrestlemania season,
right,
to throw it on 205 Live.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just really wanted to get that out there. I wanted to rant a little about that, but
no, I hear you. I totally.
I really thought that was going to be one of the matches on the big 100-hour WrestleMania show that we're gonna be watching on Sunday together. So.
Yeah, that's gonna be. It could be very long.
Yeah, so that was based on the Hardy rumor.
Getting back to the Hardy boys.
Yeah. So I guess let's see what happens with the Hardys when it comes to WrestleMania or post Raw.
Right. Sounds good.
Speaking of the Hardys, their nemesis.
I was going to say there's a great segue, actually.
I set it up this way, James.
Nice. Oh, man.
Edge and Christian are apparently... Yeah, I worked on that. Edge and Christian are apparently getting a second season of their show on the WWE Network. I myself am very mad about this. I hate Edge and Christian's show. I do not find it funny. I kind of hate... I thought of this recently. I kind of hate that Edge finished his career in WWE on a comedic note. As funny as he was in the Attitude Era, I really like the Rated R Superstar, and I find it's kind of tarnished how I remember Edge now. I don't find him and Christian very funny on their show. I've watched some of it. I think they're trying to be like Tosh.0. I like Tosh.0. I don't like the Edge and Christian show. It's potty humor. It's not funny. They're trying too hard. I don't know what you think about it, but I think they could be utilized a little bit better. I'd rather see those two as commentators on Raw and SmackDown as opposed to this goofy, childish, comedic show of theirs.
Well, I've only seen maybe one episode of the Edge and Christian show, probably last year. I actually thought they already had a second season, but evidently not. I mean, yeah, and what I saw, it certainly didn't really draw me in to watch it again, so that shows how much that I cared about it. I agree, like, Edge was a great, like, when he was a serious heel, the Rated R Superstar, yeah, I thought he was great.
One of the best, probably. Yeah, one of the best heels.
In his time,
yeah,
absolutely. He was probably one of the best heels out there. Even when he was face, it wasn't necessarily bad. When he brought a little bit of humor into it, that's not too bad.
Oh, no,
it's when
a little.
When obviously the Edge and Christian stuff from years and years ago, the goofy stuff, the 5-second pose, that stuff was great.
Yeah, at the time.
But that was a different time. These guys, they weren't world champions at the time. They were mid-carders, right?
Right.
So you got to do something to get noticed, and it was funny. Yeah, I don't want to see 5-second pose Edge when he's the world champion.
There's even a video, and I wanted to watch it today. I think WWE has already pulled it off their site because I had to Google it, and there was a link to it. I clicked on it, and it gave me some sort of authorization error. But believe it or not, there is a video of them doing something humorous with Kurt Angle again, bringing that back.
Oh.
I'm like, well, I kind of want to watch that, right? And Kurt Angle had some goofy wig on, and I wanted to watch it. And it's already gone. I don't know. Maybe they were worried that it kind of tarnished Angle. But I was just kind of wanted to watch that because I know they have a lot of history with the comedy together. But yeah, who knows? So
Edge and Christian, they're super interesting guys. Like I remember I watched last year they had a Table for Three. You ever seen that show Table for Three?
I've watched some
on the network. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was the two of them and Mick Foley.
Okay.
And it was really interesting, like the way they talked about and the way they traveled together and different things that happened backstage and during matches and that sort of stuff. And it was really, really interesting. And it wasn't like you didn't need to be super, super goofy to draw you in and make them interesting.
Agreed.
Like they can obviously you can bring humor to the table, but it doesn't need to be the goofy, obnoxious.
You know what's really weird?
Thing, yeah.
I think Christian's goofiness is very forced. I think Christian is actually a very serious person. He comes off as being serious, not Edge so much, but Christian often seems serious, and when he tries to be funny, it feels way more forced than Edge. I don't know. I just feel that way. I've seen him on the podcast. You remember that podcast with him and Austin and Edge?
Yeah.
I don't know. Christian looked kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion.
Well, I think when it comes right down to it, who has more charisma, Edge or Christian?
Yeah, maybe that's
right.
all
I think that's all it is. Because I think he is a really humorous guy. You hear stories about Christian from Edge and from Chris Jericho, and I think I've heard them from a couple of other guys on podcasts or whatever.
You know what I think it is?
Seems like he's a funny
I think
guy.
Christian's just might be a drier humor.
Could be.
Maybe that's all it is, and I'm just reading it a little skewed.
Yeah. Because I think that's a great point. I think he is a little bit more of a drier. Type of thing. Because William Regal is hilarious.
Yeah, he's dry.
He is drier than dry.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's British. That's a little bit different, but that could be what it is too.
Yeah, just like the actor that plays Jean-Luc Picard there.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Love
On the
Patrick
airplane
Stewart.
Going to Cancun, I watched a Just for Laughs comedy festival, and it was hosted by Patrick Stewart.
Really?
And it's like, really, he is a funny man. Somewhat dry humor, but funny. Yeah, you would never think, right?
Yeah.
But he's funny. He's over 70 years old.
Actually, I've seen him on him and Ian
The guy that played Magneto.
and he played.
Yeah, they're like best friends in real life too.
I can't think of his name all the time. Sir Ian McKellen.
McKellen, yeah.
McKellen, yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're really good friends, and they've acted together. They acted actually in Shakespeare stuff, like back in the UK, like years and years ago. They've known each other for like 50 years.
Yeah.
But in any case, I've seen them little interviews between each other, and they're just like the two of them. They play off each other. It's so good.
Kind of like Edge and Christian do.
Kind of like Edge and Christian, but 50 years older.
Yeah.
Maybe not 50 years.
No, not 50.
They're not. I think
Patrick Stewart. I think he's actually 75 years old.
He's pretty
old. And he is built. He's not built. He's very much in shape.
He's in great shape for his age. He's always been in good shape.
He can do one-handed push-ups.
Really?
Yeah, there's footage of him doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he's excellent shape.
And like a lot of celebrities, his wife is only like 36 years old.
Oh, okay. Nice.
She's an American singer of some sort. I follow her.
He's not an ugly man.
He actually won. Well, I don't think it was People magazine, but he was actually in the 90s. He was actually voted the world's sexiest man in America.
Really, eh?
Patrick Stewart, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool guy all around.
He's cool. I like Patrick Stewart a lot.
The Trekkies love him.
I am a Trekkie, actually.
And a lot of X-Men nerds love him, too. He's loved in the nerd world. He said that, too, on his stand-up. He's like, the nerds bow down to me. All the Trekkies and the comic book people.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is good. All right. Plans called for Finn Balor to wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania 33 if Seth Rollins had been completely unable to go, according to former WWE writer Brian Maxwell Mann.
little plug for Maxwell Mann.
Brian
there.
Maxwell Mann, if you're listening.
That's funny.
Shout out
to you. Brian Maxwell.
I like that name a lot, actually.
BMM. As for myself, I'm happy it's going to be Seth. I'm not the biggest Finn Balor fan myself. I don't know where you stand on that, but I think Seth has a little bit more chemistry with Triple H as opposed to Finn, that has right now zero storyline whatsoever with
and I think
Triple
that's
H.
the biggest thing, like aside from the whole NXT background, because obviously we know Finn Balor's from NXT. He's an NXT champion, but he's, what would have ended up happening is having Finn Balor wrestling Triple H. There would have been like a 2-week build, right, to the biggest show of the year, right? Now that's not to say that matches at WrestleMania have not been built for like 2 weeks. Like really, even Undertaker and Roman Reigns is what, like 3-week build?
No, there's not much to that storyline whatsoever. The big dog versus the original dog or something. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and the whole setup of them, basically Undertaker.
Started at the Rumble, him throwing him
Yeah,
out.
I get, there he threw him out and everything, of course, but then you never heard a peep about it until Undertaker shows up on Raw, looks at the WrestleMania sign, which, by the way, I hate that.
I know you do.
Can't stand all of these wrestlers looking at the WrestleMania
So
sign.
many plugs and so many quotes about thrill ride
Gosh.
quotes. Oh, jeez.
So, anywho, getting back to this particular rumor, yeah, they would like to have a 2-week build, especially when a guy like Triple H is involved. Obviously, he's arguably still one of the top guys, even though he doesn't wrestle.
Yeah.
But anything involving Triple H obviously is going to be very high profile. So to have him thrown in there, with 2, maybe 3 weeks in advance, it just wouldn't have worked.
Agreed, sir.
Yep. So anyways, I'm glad Brian Maxwell Man that did not work out.
We're calling this podcast BMM. No, we're not going to give him that credit.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we should just let the fans vote of what we're going to call our podcast.
We should do that from now on, starting next week. What we'll do is we will ask the fans. Although we won't really have much time in advance because obviously we have to post the podcast.
You got it
in a good amount of time. But
we got to get this posted ASAP because WrestleMania is right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to listen to it, to see what kind of opinions that we have, and see if they agree or maybe disagree with your opinions. That said, we're the podcast here. We are on iTunes. So if you are listening to us and subscribing on iTunes, thank you. And why don't you go ahead and give us a 5-star rating? That would be awesome. Comments are always good as well.
Yeah, guys.
So go ahead and do that. We'd really, really appreciate that.
Helps us out a lot.
Definitely helps us out. So, okay, on to the next rumor. Did I say that or did you say the last one?
Doesn't matter because this rumor sucks. As covered in their recent social media posting, it looks like Paige and Alberto El Patron are getting married this week. So we've got WrestleMania this week, and we've got Paige and Alberto Del Rio getting married.
If everything went the way it's supposed to be, I think they did get married already.
I'm sure they did.
I think it was supposed to be
it was within this week.
I think it was on Wednesday when I saw that happening.
Okay.
So, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, quite the time, eh? Alberto Del Rio, no longer with WWE, and now with Impact Wrestling. And Paige. Lots of news on Paige. That's all I got to say.
Lots going on with Paige. Yeah, so anyways, you know what? I know it sounds like the whole relationship, just based on the fact that there's been a lot of things going on. I think he was involved in a bar fight at one point months ago. And there was a few different things going on, and yeah, you know what? If they love each other,
I don't know.
Good for them.
Compared to a lot of other wrestlers, I don't think that they. I don't know. Well, teach their own. Maybe they're happy with where they're at. That's cool. For me, if he likes being with Impact, as opposed to WWE, and she's happy with whatever's going on in her life right now, and so good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah. Well, maybe the thing about Alberto is that much like Cody Rhodes, much like Jack Swagger, maybe he just didn't like the direction he was going in. That could be a big part of it. I know he got fired, or did he get fired?
No.
This time?
This one I think his contract was came up. He decided to leave on this one because I didn't think he was happy with the way he was being utilized.
Sure.
But I think he's done now. Like. I'm not sure where he stands with the company. Okay, let's start with this. Is he a future Hall of Famer?
In WWE?
Yeah.
No.
No, he's not. I don't think so either. I don't know if they'd ever bring him back again. Like, that was his second big run. Like, I don't know. That'd be like them bringing Carlito back. And then Carlito leaving after 8 months. They would probably never bring him back either again.
Well, I mean, Alberto's at least a former world champion.
He is. Oh yeah, he's bigger than Carlito was.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of guys that were kind of big and could come back because Carlito could come back, but I think people remember him less than what they did with Alberto. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Sometimes I forget about Carlito myself. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes I think that they could use him a bit.
Yeah. Just in the last few months, anyways, I think it was my brother who mentioned Carlito, and he mentioned about Carlito Caribbean Cool, and I'd forgotten that was his name at one point. I'd forgotten all about the apple, and he used to spit the apple.
Don't forget, this is actually kind of like he was in that segment with Austin and Piper, Roddy Piper. He was.
How long ago was that?
That was a few. Well, I believe that's a WrestleMania, but Austin was in Piper's Pit, and Carlito, his music hit, and he came in, and he got poked in the eyes by Piper, and then stunned by Austin. That's pretty big that they'd let somebody. They had some vision of Carlito. But anyways, we're going off on a tangent here. I'm just kind of saying they could. I think if you come back into the company, get a second moderate run, and you leave again, your odds of coming back again, are probably not as strong.
Yeah, I don't see him back in WWE. Plus, he's no spring chicken.
You're talking about Alberto now?
Talking about Alberto.
Alberto, yeah.
He's
agreed.
He's not a young guy either. Like
no.
I'm pretty sure he's pushing 40.
But what's funny is we say he's not a Hall of Famer. Let's go back to The Godfather. Compare them side by side.
Well,
who's done more? Alberto Del Rio has done more than The Godfather.
I know. It's possible. It's very possible.
I don't know. So be it. You can't go back in time.
No,
so.
and I don't obviously write the rules when it comes to the Hall of Fame. So
no, exactly.
Who knows? He could very well be in there.
You never know.
Yeah. All right. Next on here, we've got a few more rumors to go here today. Noam Dar apparently was injured during his match with Austin Aries on Raw this past week, and apparently has an exam this Sunday to see how bad it is. Kind of weird that this is going to be on WrestleMania Sunday.
So your guy, Noam Dar, he's done. What's Fox going to do?
Alicia, I don't know. She'll have to go back with what's his face there.
I don't remember his name.
Former cruiserweight champion.
Should we add him to the 205 live guys that we don't care about?
What is his name?
I don't remember.
I could picture him just fine.
So can I.
I can't think of his name. We'll have to come back to it.
Fox's ex.
Fox. I know on Storm and Cyrus they kept calling him something else because there was another guy.
You're right.
There was another guy that they used to know that was that had a different first name but same last name. So they referred to him as that a couple of times, but I can't think of his name now.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, doesn't matter. So anyways, I guess we'll see how bad the injury is, and I guess obviously from there that'll change plans on whether he will.
He's a hot commodity in the wrestling industry.
Straight to the top, or if they'll keep him right where he is.
He may beat Braun Strowman in their next match.
There he goes. Yep. So yeah, I guess we shall see. It's an interesting name, Noam Dar.
All right, next up, guys, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the Cruiserweight Championship matches are currently scheduled for the WrestleMania kickoff this Sunday. It's apparently also expected that one more match may move to the pre-show as well. Kind of unfortunate, kind of makes sense. Definitely unfortunate for our guy Neville, who is on the kickoff show. I can understand the Battle Royal being on the kickoff show. The kickoff show is 2 hours long. So there's no way that two matches are going to last 2 hours. I think there's going to be a lot of talking.
There's going to be lots of yakking. There's going to be all this panel stuff. A lot of the
panel with Renee and Booker, et cetera, and Corey.
Yeah.
The other rumored match, I believe, was originally the SmackDown Women's. Right. I think they removed that.
I believe so,
could be due to, I don't know. I think it's possibly a gender equality thing, and I'm okay with that. They probably belong on the main card as well, with the others, including because the Raw Women's is on there. Why not get the SmackDown Women's? And I'm okay with that. I think that's cool.
I agree with that. I don't
know.
I really didn't think it should be on the kickoff show to begin with. I know it was announced on the kickoff show at one point.
Yeah.
But I think I just saw today that they there hasn't been an official announcement, but it's no longer listed on the kickoff.
I think WWE is highly trying to move away from the old joke that the women's matches used to be P-break matches, and I think that's probably what moved them back to the card with the remainder of the competitors. It sucks that Neville and Aries are moved, because then it's like people are going to say, well, because they're littler, they're on the kickoff, or because they're cruiserweights. It's hard to say, like, what's the best of two evils? Like, who do you put on the kickoff? The Battle Royal is very gimmicky, so it's easily, put the gimmick match on the kickoff. But what other matches do you put on, in order to improve this 7-hour spread that they probably wanted to fix from last year, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of controversial.
Yeah, well, it's much like television. Like, what'll happen is, like, they always have specific shows that they want to put on there as a good opener.
Yeah.
So that you'll stay and watch the following shows on a network.
Yeah.
Like with if we go back to the Tonight Show, Jay Leno had the Tonight Show, and then it always led on to the 11 o'clock news or whatever it was. Or no, sorry, the 11 o'clock news was before the Tonight Show. When Jay Leno left, they ended up giving him a 9 o'clock show, let's say, which was before the nightly news. So what they used to always want to do, they want to have a strong lead in so that people will stay on and they'll already have the channel on and they'll continue to watch the show.
Sure.
So if you want to make sure you have that strong lead in. So that's probably partially why they have a good, strong match, which I'm sure will be a great match on the kickoff show.
They used to do that a lot. I hate to say his name, but a lot back in the day, and a lot of people notice this, they often used Chris Benoit to start off pay-per-views because he wasn't the top guy, but he often started the show off strong with whoever he faced. I remember that a lot of Survivor Series. We'd always be like, watch, it'll be Benoit versus someone. And yeah, his music would hit and he'd come out and he'd wrestle. Whereas you wouldn't want to put somebody like a mid-carder or even lower person to start a match off. So yeah, I kind of thought, that's what I thought immediately when you said they want to start off the event or the show strong, right? Or at least moderately strong. Similar to the Hall of Fame ceremony. They start off with DDP. They're probably going to end with Kurt Angle, right? You're not going to start it off with a lesser known individual. So you want to keep everyone's attention span strong.
Wait, you want people to be watching the show?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean that does make sense. I just wanted to actually see a tweet here.
I don't know which one they'd start off, though. Would it be the Battle Royal first or the Neville match?
I would almost think the Battle Royal would be first. And then the Neville match will be like in the second hour. I think it's actually only 6 hours from what I see. Because I think they say the show is supposed to start at 4.
So you're saying that it's going to be a 4-hour pay-per-view?
Yes.
I doubt it. Can't see it.
Well,
cannot see it.
4 hours scheduled.
Yeah, those well, on Austin's podcast, they were guessing a lot of the matches are going to be short. Mm-hmm. Doubt it. I doubt it. Well, one match will be short. Yeah. Lesnar and Goldberg will not crack 10 minutes.
No, I doubt it'll crack 10 minutes. And in a lot of ways,
Taker and Reigns will not be long.
No, I can't see that being long.
I don't see it going past. You know what? I bet you. Wow, do I dare say 22 minutes? That's too long.
I think that's too long.
That's too long.
Between 18 and 20? 15 and 20 for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not as low as 15, but I don't think 20 even.
Yeah, Court and Austin guessed that Jericho and KO would be one of the longest. I agree. Mm-hmm. I fully agree. I think AJ and Shane will be pretty long too.
I think it'll be long too. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Orton and Bray will be pretty long too.
Yeah, probably good 20 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Getting back to, pardon me, the cruiserweight title there. Austin Aries put a really interesting and kind of hit the nail on the head. Kind of just back to where I was saying about the lead-in. He wrote, I'm never relegated to anything. I'm just who you add to things you need elevated. Pre-show is now must see.
Ooh.
So he's basically putting it like, hey, this is
You're crazy. Well, yeah.
you're crazy to miss the pre-show
well,
now.
I'm bugging you guys. WrestleMania starts at 4.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be alone watching this match.
I know. Well, if I could make it, I would. But
Yeah, I know. Life happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate because you and I talk about Neville all the time, and unfortunately, I think you and I we're not going to be watching it together.
So I'm hoping that it's
Yeah.
in that second hour.
Yeah, I'd like to experience it with you, man.
Yeah, man. So
Might be the battle royal we'll miss, where Strowman clearly will probably win. Just such an obvious win.
You know what's funny? Just getting back to just completely has nothing to do with this at all. Just Strowman. A couple of people I've heard this week have referred to him as Braun Strowman.
Oh, I heard that too.
Yeah, Strowman.
Was it Court? It was Court.
It was Court, and then I also heard someone else refer to him as Strowman as well.
That's weird.
I don't remember who, but
Even if he told me it's Braun Strowman, I'd be like, okay, and I would walk away. It's Strowman.
they call him Strowman on the.
Oh, it sounds way better.
It sounds like a name, right?
Yeah,
Strowman.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think they're wrong. I think it's Strowman.
Well, I'm certain it's Strowman. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's like any other name, right? Goldman or
Goldberg. Gold. No, actually, no. That's a bad. I can't really.
That's a Berg. That's not a man. That's Berg.
Goldberg. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is there's no space. I don't know. I'm sure it's Strowman.
Wherever it's kind of like where you put the accent on the word, like you kind of like accentuate the syllable. Like
Yeah.
it's Strowman.
Yeah.
Not Strowman. Strowman.
Exactly.
Or like there's a word. There's another name, Bowman, right? Like
Yeah.
Here in our city, our mayor's last name is Bowman.
Yeah,
it's not Bowman.
Bowman.
What's going on, Bowman?
He's the archery guy. He just walks around with a cape of some
Yeah,
sort.
he's wearing a cape and he's got a bow and arrow and he's just shooting random birds.
What? He's the bowman.
Who's that guy? He
He's
runs our town.
He's the bowman.
Don't make him mad.
All right.
All right, second to last.
Second to last.
All right.
Rumor 15.
Goodness.
My goodness.
All right. Here we go. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the match between Roman Reigns and Undertaker will probably main event WrestleMania 33. I just know.
I hope it's not true because this was recent stuff I heard, and I believe that was today. Actually, I updated this. I really hope that's not true because if that ends and Roman Reigns beats Undertaker, oh my goodness, oh my God, you know what our faces are gonna look like at the end of WrestleMania.
Well, obviously this is not a video podcast, but if you saw my face when Roman Reigns came out at number 30 at the Royal Rumble.
Your mouth was agape. I looked to my side and your mouth literally dropped. It was hilarious.
Not in a good way.
No.
Sometimes it's exciting and your mouth drops.
Yeah,
and you're
like
wow.
when Lesnar beat Taker.
That was
unthinkable. Or when classic, I didn't go buy that bag of chips.
Yes.
And Stone Cold, The Rock,
At
and
WrestleMania
Hulk Hogan
30.
were standing in the middle of the ring
at
the same time. Yes, I think I mentioned this before, but I like my chips, and I was short on chips in the house when we were all together during that WrestleMania 30. I'm going to go buy a bag of chips. And, probably one of the biggest moments possibly ever were the three biggest superstars of all time. We're standing in the middle of the ring together, Hogan, Stone Cold, and The Rock. But on that same pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker, beat the streak. Yeah. So those are some moments that literally our mouths just hit the floor. Yeah. And your mouth hit the floor when Roman Reigns was number 30 in that Royal Rumble. I warned you guys, our expectations for that thing were way too high. And it was not as good as what we thought it was. No, it was better than past recent ones, but
no, there was so much more they could have done.
No surprises.
Unfortunately, we were disappointed. For the most part, it was still decent, but
decent.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping it's not Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. It'll likely be Goldberg, Brock Lesnar. It could be Bray versus Orton. You might want that long, solid, because of those 3 matches, for sure. What are those guys' names? Forgot. We'll cut this piece out. Of those 3 matches, Bray Wyatt versus Orton will be the longest for sure. I can't imagine it being shorter than Reigns Undertaker or Lesnar Goldberg.
I honestly think I disagree with you. I think they're going to end with Goldberg and Lesnar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see. I'm thinking like Vince right now, and I could see him wanting the show to end with either Lesnar, or Roman Reigns. God, I hope that doesn't happen. I can't see Bray and Orton. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
The interest for Bray and Orton, although I'm an Orton guy, as you all know, isn't as high as the other guys we just named. Unfortunately, Roman, even Roman is in the picture more, it seems, and definitely Goldberg and Lesnar are always a hot topic. But I don't, as you guys know, I don't really watch SmackDown that much at all. But it seems like Bray and Orton are not a big topic compared to those other guys we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean in that regard, like just exactly.
Feels like people talk about AJ more even than Bray.
Yeah, like I think there in a lot of ways there's been more.
God, AJ versus Orton would have been good. Oh, well, there's even rumors of that happening.
Opportunities. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Orton says he wants to fight AJ.
Yeah.
God, that'd be a smooth match.
See, I think that could have easily been a triple threat for the title,
Yeah,
and it would have worked.
It's weird though, like if AJ felt so thrown in with Bray, AJ and Bray. Although I liked it when they interacted at the Elimination Chamber.
Sure,
that was cool because it was heel on heel.
Yeah.
I like that moment there when they were against each other. So I don't know, it would have worked. I feel bad that AJ's has to face Shane, but at least he has someone. You know.
Well, at least he's got a match, unlike his friend Samoa Joe.
Poor Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
The burial of Samoa Joe.
Everyone's just getting buried here on the RGW podcast.
No, it's Sami Zayn. All right, and on to our last rumor of the week. There is still some talk of some big stars switching brands shortly after WrestleMania. So, as we just discussed, Roman Reigns could be heading to SmackDown, and maybe AJ Styles over to Monday Night Raw. I'd be happy with this swap. Get rid of Roman. Well, I shouldn't say get rid of. You could tell I don't watch SmackDown.
In your eyes.
In my eyes, yeah, I'd like to see AJ over to Raw. I don't really want to see Roman on Raw anymore. The only thing is, if they move Roman Reigns over to SmackDown, do you find he would grow as much as they'd like him to? I don't think they would. I think he'll only grow as a heel. I don't think he'll grow anymore. In fact, if they keep him as a face on SmackDown Live, his growth will actually slow down.
Well, he can't. When it comes to him being a face, he can't get any worse.
You're kind of right. Am I wrong? I don't have enough experience. Isn't the SmackDown crowd a little quieter than the Raw crowd?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily? Okay.
No. I mean, it's still the same fans.
It is, yeah.
Virtually, right? It's just different wrestlers. So, I mean, it could work. Like, he could interact with some different people. He's kind of interacted with the same guys for quite some time, right? So,
so weird. I'm such a huge wrestling fan, but I've always bled
show.
Raw. I always have.
You're
I don't
wearing
even
red right now.
I know. I'm wearing red right now,
and I'm wearing blue.
But I've always been this way. Even the Attitude Era, they show things that happened in the Attitude Era with The Rock, Stone Cold's odd moments when he'd be on SmackDown. I don't remember them. Mm-hmm. I never really watched SmackDown. I've never been interested in SmackDown, and I think it all stems from The Rock being a SmackDown guy, and Austin was the Raw guy. I have an old magazine. It was Raw and SmackDown, and the red side was Austin, and the blue side was SmackDown. And I've always been an Austin guy, and I just picked my side. And there was definitely a different feel to SmackDown back then. You can't deny that. Now people argue that it's it's on par. It's the same as Raw. But there was always a different feel in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era with SmackDown. So I just never watched it. And I just was a Raw guy, and it's kind of leached over to today. I don't watch SmackDown. I also don't really find the time to watch an additional 2 hours of SmackDown. Not to say that it's a bad show. I don't watch it, so I find that my knowledge on the SmackDown side of things is lower than that I wish it was. So.
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in a way there. When you've watched 3 hours of Raw on a Monday,
yeah,
then to watch 2 more hours of SmackDown on Tuesday,
yeah,
and then think about a pay-per-view, a week that a pay-per-view's on. For example, this week's WrestleMania. So you're gonna watch 6 hours of WrestleMania on Sunday, 3 hours of Raw on Monday, and 2 more hours of SmackDown on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a lot of wrestling.
That is 11 hours of wrestling.
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
if you were to then watch, say,
Hall of Fame,
the Hall of Fame, of course, and then there's the NXT Takeover tomorrow, which I unfortunately won't get a chance to see any of. But
this is just WWE.
This is all just WWE, exactly. And then, so for example, and then also there, if you watch 205 Live,
oh, that's more WWE,
and you watch NXT, which is on Wednesdays, right?
Oh my God.
And then and then let's just say you're also watching Impact
and Ring of Honor,
and you're trying to find time for Ring of Honor
and
Lucha Underground, New Japan,
Global Force Wrestling.
Global Force Wrestling.
What is that?
Does that even exist? I haven't seen a show.
IWA Wrestling.
Ooh, WFWA.
WFWA. Some Calgary Wrestling.
Stampede. Man. Oh my goodness.
Stampede.
PCW.
Local
CWE.
Name drop there. CWE.
Canadian Wrestling Elite.
Oh my God. We're just going to start WCW. Got to go back and watch all the WCW. Actually, I have a buddy that was doing that, eh?
What?
He was watching all the Nitros.
That's a lot of Nitros.
That was Keith that was doing that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that was a few years ago. And he said, I'm watching all the Nitros. And my buddy Wade, I don't know if he's still doing this, but he went back to the start of the Attitude Era and was watching all the Raws. Oh my God. So, and I think maybe he was watching the SmackDowns as well, but that's a lot of hours.
That's a lot of hours. So let's not talk about the trying to fit in old wrestling.
Look how many hours we just added.
Like, does anyone sleep if you're watching this much wrestling?
Oh, no kidding, eh?
Like, it's just almost, it's too, I hate to say it, it's too much wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, there's life. How do you have a life and still watch all this wrestling? It just doesn't work. So I can see you having to draw the line.
So recap, just WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, so just recent. So it'd be WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
NXT Takeover.
That's the pay-per-view tomorrow.
And then there would be the regular NXT show, 205 Live.
Correct.
That's like, I think we're missing. Yeah, that's.
Well, just that's all WWE. So
yeah.
let's just use let's just include the Hall of Fame today.
Oh yeah, that too.
So today there's 3 hours of Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow 2 hours of NXT Takeover. On Sunday 6 hours of WrestleMania. On Monday 3 hours of Raw. On Tuesday 2 hours of SmackDown. And then on Wednesday, I don't exactly know when 205 Live airs, but we'll say an hour of 205 Live and an hour of NXT. How many hours is that?
I believe that is 18 hours.
So in a 5-day span, there is 18 unique hours of wrestling to watch. Now, granted, this is a bit of a unique week.
Sure.
There's not that much to watch every single week, but even get rid of some of those, there's still 7 or 8 hours of unique wrestling to watch per week. That's still a lot of wrestling.
It is. So that you can kind of see where I'm at with the SmackDown thing.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
In the old school SmackDown, like I still recall, like there was the SmackDown 6. If you remember, there was like because they had the SmackDown titles. There was Los Guerreros, it was Eddie Guerrero and Chavo, and then there was the World's Greatest Tag Team. They were in there, and then there was there's some other guy. Can't think of his name.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, there were 5 definitely really good guys wrestling in SmackDown, and they kind of traded the tag team titles around back in the early 2000s, 2002, 2003. Really, really good stuff. But I can understand, having to kind of cut a show out. It's fine. I forgive you.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm sure WWE also forgives you.
Yeah. And that's what YouTube's for.
There you
go. That's how I watch my Orton and Bray segments and some of the AJ and Shane stuff.
Yeah.
And because I certainly enjoy watching some of this stuff.
Sure.
It's just I can't find the time to fit an extra 2 hours in.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it's hard to fit in the 3 hours of Raw sometimes. It really is. I often actually have to break it down into 2 days because just 3 hours is too long. They really got to narrow it down to 2 hours. They got to go back to a 2 hour Raw because there's a lot of filler in there, and it's just hard to, your attention veers very easily.
I know there's a columnist that I read, a wrestling columnist, and he is in the U.S., of course, and he subscribes to Hulu. And what Hulu does is that every Tuesday night, they post a condensed version of Raw in an hour and a half. And it sounds like they cut out mostly the filler. And then on Wednesday, they also post a condensed version of SmackDown. So it's also an hour and a half. So obviously they're not cutting out as much of SmackDown because it's only a 2-hour show to begin with.
Right.
But so you can watch both shows in 3 hours.
That's pretty cool.
So something
the only
like
concern is what they're cutting out because maybe it is important.
Yeah, there might be some stuff but the main storylines they keep.
Yeah.
The main storylines are there.
Yeah.
So I presume almost WWE must maybe even
makes
tell
you wonder who makes a decision on
I was going to say that. I wonder
out.
if it's WB that says, okay, you can cut this, and this.
It's hard to say.
Or if it's actually Hulu themselves. It's a subscription-based service in the States, so kind of cool if they had something like that here, but
some pretty cool rumors though.
Yeah, lots of good rumors. Not too much filler. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, there's a couple bummer ones. Spirit Squad. That may be one of our top worst rumors of all time.
That's definitely bottom of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel.
Which is funny because we weren't scraping for rumors this week.
We weren't. No, there was a lot of rumors. Again, it's right around WrestleMania season. WrestleMania is right around the corner.
It is right around the corner. And speaking of WrestleMania, just getting back to that there, we're going to talk about one last rumor, and it is that according to PW Insider, WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross, good old JR, will actually be returning to WWE television at WrestleMania.
That is some very exciting news.
That's blows me away. I actually did not see that coming. I listened to his podcast this week. Really sad ordeal with his wife passing away.
Yeah, very much so.
Really, really tragic. Happened really quick. Just kind of goes to show how life is fleeting.
Absolutely. Yet what a trooper to continue on with his passion regardless, right?
Yeah. Well,
maybe that's what she'd want from him.
And that's what he said.
Okay.
That's what he said. He said she would want him to keep working, and really continuing to work is what's keeping him going.
I'm assuming they were together. They were probably together from day one.
Well, I don't know about day one.
Okay.
But they've been together, at least through his WWE days anyways.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For sure. So,
Sure.
so we'll say 25 years probably.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's been, or maybe not 25 years, but
Yeah.
quite a while for sure. So, yeah, condolences out to Jim Ross there.
For sure.
'Cause that was, that would be rough. I couldn't even imagine.
Agreed. I hear it's one match that he'll be.
Yes.
I have a guess because I read this online.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you hear?
Well, I think it's going to be Roman Reigns and Undertaker.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I actually have here in front of me Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
I doubt it because that match is so short.
And
you
I
got to
don't-
get some
yeah.
JR in
Yeah,
there.
and I don't think they really need Jim Ross because Jim Ross and traditionally the announcing has been part of the carrying along of the match, the carrying along of the storyline, and JR would just add so much to the Roman Reigns to help get Roman Reigns over if that's truly where they're
This
going.
may be one of the most exciting things about WrestleMania now, that we get to see the man himself, listen to JR. Like, he's my favorite commentator
Yeah.
of all time.
What does that say about WrestleMania as a whole? That one of the most exciting things about it to us is the fact that Jim Ross is coming back to potentially call one match.
My God, he has broken him in half.
The Undertaker's dead! He's dead!
So good. God, I hope he pulls some of that stuff off.
Roman Reigns is he's pumping up the
God.
Superman punch.
I can't do this. Screw you, Roman Reigns.
I'm out.
Just walks away.
drops the headset. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, so that's good news. I'm glad to hear that JR's at least going to come back for one match.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear him on a couple of matches.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Not just the classic Jerry the King Lawler one match thing, but
Right.
I'm not whatever. It's at least we're getting one.
We're getting one, and from what I understand as well, his deal might also be to be a part of some other projects. Probably not like Raw or SmackDown, of course. I don't think he even wants to do full-time commentating anymore.
Maybe the Edge and Christian show.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Edge, Christian, and Jim Ross.
No.
You know what seems so strange? I don't know if you have you ever listened to the Ross Report?
No, I haven't.
He had Sting on there one time, quite a while ago. It was probably within I think he had either just come back to WWE Sting, or it was just before he came back and they were talking about it. I don't exactly remember, but Sting, I guess, knows Jim Ross from years and years ago. So like
WCW days.
WCW days, right?
Yeah.
And I guess at that time he had a little bit of a different nickname. It's the only thing that I can gather, because Sting kept calling him Rossi.
Oh my.
Well, Rossi, I remember you, and you'd come to the back and you'd be like, "Hey, what's going on, Rossi?" And it just seemed so strange.
Sounds kind of feminine.
Little
Rossi.
bit. Well, I guess back in like hockey and stuff, like they'll always throw like like I think Johnny Taze is like kind of like, "Hey, what's going on, Taser?" Or like a lot of guys will use like different last names, or use the last name, and they'll kind of throw in like an E or an on there.
I almost said like on Frasier, but that's Roz. Did you ever think that there'd be a Frasier reference on our podcast?
Wow.
You got a Frasier reference.
Wow, Frasier reference. You get a little bit of everything here.
You got a little bit of everything on this podcast. It's not just wrestling.
Man, there's so many layers.
There's so many layers. Wrestling, Metallica, Frasier.
Mid-90s sitcoms. Oh my goodness. And with that, I think it's time to move on.
That's our rumors. Guys,
right.
Time for some topics of discussion.
All right. So what have you got for us this week, Eric?
All right. First thing I from the mind of Eric, I thought of this watching our guy Chris Jericho killing it on TV, and I just thought to myself, man, Jericho is awesome on the mic. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
We both agree. Now, I think from day one we've always agreed, and I think almost everyone has always agreed that Jericho is one of the best on the microphone. Who else is classified as being one of the best in the microphone? Well, of course, it's The Rock. So the big question, who's better on the mic overall? Is it The Rock or is it Chris Jericho? I'll let you start.
Well, I will say, I mean, if I had to choose one, I would say overall, Chris Jericho.
Agreed.
One of the big reasons why is, like, if you look back at some of The Rock's promos, he has a couple that really stand out that are really, really funny. Mostly involving the two that stick out in my mind actually are impersonations of other wrestlers. There was the one where he was standing up on the ramp when he was part of the corporation. So this was leading up to WrestleMania 15 probably, because I think he was a champion. And he was saying the different guys' catchphrases. I don't know if you remember that one or not. It's like, you know, to be the man, woo, you gotta be. No, wait, that's not it.
Yeah, that was funny. I do remember that very
one.
much.
And
so.
there was also another one when he was backstage, and I remember he impersonated Kurt Angle. He's like, I'm gonna drink some milk.
Well, that was actually for the 6-man Hell in a Cell Armageddon 2000 match.
The six-pack challenge?
That's not what it was called.
Okay.
But yeah, that was amazing too, because he impersonated all 5 guys.
Exactly. Now, because he did Rikishi's like, I did it for the Rock.
And he did the Stone Cold, I'm going to listen to some Backstreet Boys.
Oh, yeah,
and,
right.
And yeah, Undertaker, he rolled his eyes back.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay.
So anyways.
Those two stand out. However, most of his other promos were more or less the same.
They were. And they often involve just burying other guys. He's kind of
Yes.
known for that.
Yeah.
My issue with The Rock over the years is I find his stuff, and actually John Cena mentioned it during their 2-year feud, he repeats the same stuff over and over and over.
Absolutely.
To the point where it's gotten very annoying. When The Rock's on the mic now, for 2 years in a row, he goes to the fans at WrestleMania, and you're going to go home and make some WrestleMania babies, some Rock babies. He doesn't come up with anything new, boots to asses. You know, it gets really old after a while. Jericho is the master at coming up with new slogans and sayings all the time. I was talking to my wife about this. Jericho comes up with new things every 3 to 6 months, it seems. And it's awesome. He'll say some of the most ridiculous things. And if the crowd picks up on it, sometimes you might not even know it's what he's trying to do. He'll continue to reuse it. But if the crowd doesn't like it, he'll drop it. It's awesome how he does that. You know, if you were to, you can't even find a site that actually has all of Jericho's sayings because he's had so many. It's incredible how much he's gone through. He's got a really good imagination. He's always coming up with new things, and he's had an interview recently where he says, I always want to keep things fresh. And not only with his sayings, but also with his gimmicks. How many of his gimmicks has he had? Probably around 8 to 10 since his career?
Every few years, he's kind of come out with something new. Every run that he's had. Exactly. You know, because when he first came on the scene in 99, or even in WCW, and that's a little different, but in WCW he had a character, in WWE he had a character, and then he changed that up, and then he left for a while, and then he came back, and he was different completely again, and then he came up with the very serious gimmick where he would wear a suit all the time in 08.
And I think that's his favorite because he talks about it a lot.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot. Well, I think one of the big reasons there too is that he had the huge feud with Shawn that was not actually even supposed to be a long-term feud. It was supposed to be a one-off, and just the fact that the crowd was just eating it up.
I think it
became like a 6 to 8 month thing.
I think it was good because it's ironic when you have a storyline with your idol, your childhood idol. In this case, Jericho looked up to Shawn. Always did. IWA wrestling. He was mimicking Shawn Michaels. You can either go the Bailey route and be gushy towards your idol, or you can utilize your knowledge on your idol and turn pure heel on him That's what Jericho did,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great, right?
It worked,
That's
absolutely.
exactly what he did. He knew Shawn so well that he was able to twist it into pure hatred towards him, and it worked. Well, that's how it worked so well. So when Jericho is on the mic, going back to the discussion, who's better on the microphone, The Rock or Jericho? I find Jericho, when he's talking on the microphone, he doesn't stutter. He is so fluid on the mic. The Rock is good as well. I find The Rock has to stop sometimes and think. Whereas Jericho is, you'd swear everything's a shoot with this guy. I find Jericho is smoother on the mic than The Rock, ever so slightly. But whether he's a heel or a face, and whether it's goofy or serious like in '08, he just goes full blown. And it's like his imagination is just a little bit, more forward than The Rock's. Whereas The Rock's just always in goof mode, always in burial mode, and he's basically looking at his opponent and just looking at, stupid things about him, and he's going to just point it out to the crowd. That's just where I think Jericho is stronger than The Rock, and he's always trying to come up with some new slogan or saying, whereas The Rock, if we see him again at WrestleMania this year, he's going to say the same stuff. He's not going to try and come up with something new, whereas Jericho is always coming up with something new. Like, look in the last year, Drink It In, man. You just made the list. You know what happens when ... The it thing. You stupid idiot. This is all new stuff. Never mind all of his old stuff. I don't know. That's my feeling on it. I just find he's a little bit more entertaining when he's on the microphone, a little bit more fluid than The Rock. That's my feel.
Extremely creative mind, Chris Jericho. And not only that, but the way he uses that creativity is he's never repetitive, like for periods of time.
Right.
Like, obviously he's, the Drink It In man. It's been, he's been using it for quite some time now, but it's over.
Now it's Cheer Me On, man.
He uses he used the same thing, and you see how he twists it,
Yeah,
and changes
that's
it
a face thing
into different ways of saying it, right? Now, one big difference too between The Rock and Chris Jericho, because The Rock basically, just says the same thing. How long has he been talking about strudel and various things, and exactly just kind of buries the other guy, points out various things that are terrible about the other person.
Last WrestleMania, the Wyatts. I just
buried
watched
the Wyatts, absolutely.
He said that it looked like they were smoking the bong.
Right.
Like, really, come on.
Yeah.
He didn't need to say that.
No. So there you go. So there is The Rock, and everything that he says basically is like, look at me. Look at how amazing I am. Look at you.
It's bully tactics.
Look how crappy you are. Whereas Chris Jericho is, look at me. Look how good I am. However, also, look at this person. Put some focus on this person. Even if he's putting them down, he still does it in such a way that it's creative. He still does it in such a way that is not burying the other guy. Because you want to watch a match where the two guys are, maybe not necessarily equals, but it feels that way.
Well said. I agree with you. Very well said. And, even here's an example. On Raw, do you remember when Chris was showing the photo of Kevin Owens when he was a child? It was 16 years old, and he had the poster of Jericho in the back, and I think Pamela Anderson and whatnot. You'd see, he's burying him. Actually, no, he was actually showing that KO has always been a lifelong fan. I actually didn't see it really as him burying him, whereas The Rock, as you had said, he just kind of just buries the other individual.
He probably would have said something like,
well, he probably would have made fun of his weight or something dumb, like he
You've
goes
always
overboard.
been a fat slob,
Yeah,
or something like
he
that.
probably would have said. That's the difference between those two.
Yeah.
Well said, though. It's right. Jericho kind of subtly will make the other individual look good, whereas still as a heel or as a unique face that he is today. Mm-hmm. Whereas I don't know. That's kind of why I've never been a huge Rock guy.
Yeah.
Not sure. I'm not sure.
I always think about Chris Jericho. Just one last thought is that, and I think I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, but he learned from, of all people, Bulldog Bob Brown in a match, one of his first matches, I think with IWA or WFWA, whatever it would have been called at the time, here in Winnipeg. He went out there and he bashed Bulldog Bob Brown. Went out there and called him old, called him useless, called him fat, called him whatever, and then went to the back. And Bulldog said, and Jericho said this on his own podcast, that Bulldog gave him probably the best advice that he could have gotten, and he's kind of based his career off of this, is never like directly insult the other person, because you're saying that I'm old, I'm fat, I'm useless. Well, guess what? You just got beat by an old, fat, useless man.
Yeah.
So now, what does that make you look like? Now all of a sudden you're garbage because you lost to this guy.
Yeah.
Right? So you never want to bury the guy, because then if he beats you, where do you go now?
I remember hearing that. That was on Killing the Town, I think.
It was either on Killing the Town. No, it was probably on Jericho's, because it was a while ago I heard that he gave that anecdote. So, but yeah, no. So I sounds like we're in agreement. Definitely Chris Jericho. What other wrestlers do you think are up there in regards to really good talkers?
Good mic. Well, we just kind of on that Don Callis.
Yeah.
There's a man on the microphone.
Top talent.
He's excellent on the microphone.
He's always been good. He was great as the Jackal. There's a reason that they kind of had him in ECW as well as not WCW, TNA at the time.
Yeah.
Brought him in, and I mean, he kind of had a very similar shtick. He was part of the network and
because I mean
that sort of thing.
There's a lot of managers that are excellent. In fact, tons. Paul Heyman, Teddy Long. Those are all good.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm talking wrestlers, and Callis was a wrestler.
Sure.
Jericho, The Rock, others. Triple H always been strong on the mic.
Yeah.
One guy that a lot of people don't think of, Stone Cold, always been good on the microphone. I do find Kurt Angle. Mm-hmm. Angle admits, though, he had to memorize a lot of it, but still solid on the mic, very entertaining.
I always thought Angle was entertaining. I still remember when he first came out. I guess was he fighting Taz? I guess.
Oh,
at a pay-per-view? Was that his debut?
That was Taz's debut.
That was Taz's debut. Yeah.
And Angle's debut was against. Why do I forget this?
I don't actually remember. But anyways, I remember him coming down the aisle before the match, and he had a microphone in his hand, and he was talking about the 3 eyes and this and that, and you hated this guy.
Yeah.
He was so pompous, and he just had this air about him that you just love to hate him.
Natural though.
It was totally natural. It was the right kind of heat.
Yeah, and
yeah, for sure.
Crazy. He was meant for pro wrestling.
Absolutely.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
John Cena,
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, that guy on the microphone, just it's so natural.
Oh yeah.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird actually how good he is on the mic.
Yeah.
CM Punk, almost forgot to mention him, but he's known for that microphone, like good at shoot talking, especially.
He's a smart guy. I think he definitely is
opinionated.
Certainly opinionated. And I think that's really gotten him in trouble.
Yeah, but I think he is good on the mic. You gave him, he got to talk in the middle of the ring.
He's charismatic, right? Like he's got those things that you can't teach. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think you can't just teach somebody to be good on a microphone. You're either good or you're not.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
He certainly had an air about him.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. But no, he was definitely good. Yes.
I marked Ric Flair down. He's pretty good on the mic.
I would say he's always been really good on the mic.
Yeah.
I even watched some of his things. I mean, it's a bit of a different era, of course, but if you watch some of his promos in the 80s, like when he was part of the Four Horsemen and stuff, like it was good stuff.
Because you compare him against, Hogan. Hogan was never entirely as good as Ric Flair on the microphone. So, I felt like putting Flair down, especially for his era.
Yeah, I would say Hulk Hogan though was very good.
Yeah.
He was.
Well, you're right. Even better than wrestling. He's better on the mic than he was technically at wrestling.
Oh, for sure. And I think like he was able to get himself over. He was also able, for a time, he was certainly able to get other guys over as well. He was able to help get Macho Man over. He certainly helped get the Ultimate Warrior over.
But those are two guys I wouldn't put on. I wouldn't put them on the list.
No,
no,
I wouldn't. And it's funny because Macho Man definitely had a certain quality to him, but I don't think anyone would really put him in the top 10 of best talkers ever.
No, God,
but he was
no.
unique for sure.
No, and I think I'd put Warrior as one of the bottom. He had the look, he had everything, but. Made no sense in my mind when he was on the mic.
No sense.
I know he's your guy, but
not the worst guy ever.
No, I didn't know. I honestly, to this day, I watch and listen to them. They're really out there.
It makes no sense now that you watch it.
Yeah, because he's never had a serious interview. Well, except for his shoot ones, like prior to his passing.
Sure.
And he had very good interviews.
Yeah.
It was his character.
Right.
I put. Originally one of my most hated wrestlers, but I put the Miz down.
Yeah.
That guy on the mic.
In the last 6 months, he's been off the charts.
He's good on the microphone.
He's great on the microphone.
It's one of those guys that I've always hated, but now I've kind of grown a respect for, and it eats me up inside. Because I always said, God, do I hate the Miz. And a lot of people say that. But, it's on Austin's recent podcast how he's flourished over the last 10 years, and Court Bauer was saying that too about him, how he was that guy that he was fed to the wolves, and he always kept a smile on his face, and he never pouted. A lot of wrestlers pout, and they've given him another opportunity, whether or not he holds that opportunity, as other wrestlers like Ziggler, just less than a year ago he was given that opportunity. He got a title shot and everyone's like, oh, he's getting a push. Meanwhile, that was it.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Miz, that's not it for him after WrestleMania. He'll probably be one of the top guys on SmackDown, I could see. So I don't know, definitely the Miz, very strong on the mic. And I put with a nice smiley winky face, Neville. Neville.
In the last couple of months, absolutely.
That's what the wink was all about.
Yeah.
Recent, Neville's been actually in WWE one of easily top 10.
Certainly one of the bright spots for sure when it comes to talking and promos. And
I
stuff.
haven't seen him stutter much whatsoever. Every time he's on that microphone, he's stronger than Aries. I don't care what people say. To be honest with you, when he's talking with Austin Aries, he's making Austin Aries look weak on the microphone. Austin Aries has to think about what he says. Often, we'll talk about it on Raw, but there was a segment that just made me kind of vomit in my mouth recently with Austin Aries. Made me a little bit less excited about his match with Neville. I'm still, my top guy on 205 Live is Neville. It's not Austin Aries.
Yeah.
I still think Neville is the top bar guy.
He's definitely king of the cruiserweights.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But anyways, that's my list. Is there any other guys I'm missing regarding? I was really trying to think. I named some guys that I've never been a huge Ric Flair fan. I've never been a huge Miz fan. But I'm being honest. I'm naming some of the guys. I think they're strong on the mic. I don't know. Did I miss anyone?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know if there's too many other guys. I'm sure.
I didn't put Shawn because Shawn Michaels has had some really bad things in the past when he's on the mic. So, I'm trying to think of solid guys. I've always thought Triple H is one of the best. Orton's hit and miss. He's not bad. He's had some goofy things, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some really solid guys. And,
those guys are pretty much those are some solid guys for sure. Yeah. Shawn Michaels definitely has had some really good promos.
He's had some good
as well, though.
But he's had some weird ones too.
He's had some strange ones, but
where he talks about his movies.
I would
but
say
that was fed to him though.
Recent he certainly has not been great.
Right.
I'd say in the last 3-4 years, anytime he's come back, I really have no interest in hearing from him. But I mean, he definitely had some great promos in in the 90s and And even in the early 2000s, his feud against The Undertaker was awesome. His feud there against Hulk Hogan was actually really good with his skit. And he had a skit there when he kind of was pretending to be Hulk Hogan. And his feud against Chris Jericho, in 2008 was really great.
Yeah.
So no, it's great, good stuff. Yeah, his feuds, when he first came back in 2002 against Triple H there. That was some great work on the mic as well. So,
but yeah,
I think Shawn Michaels was up there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Maybe not Marty Jannetty, but
cool. All right, on to our next topic here. I thought of this based on some stuff I was seeing regarding Razor Ramon. There was actually a top 10 Intercontinental Champions of all time, and Razor was number 6 or number 5.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
As we mentioned, I'm a huge Scott Hall fan. So I thought, and they were discussing how Scott Hall isn't just one of the best Intercontinental Champions of all time, but one of the best superstars of all time. I agree. I really agree. I'm sure you do as well. So this got me thinking. I'm a big Stone Cold, big Scott Hall fan, and I thought back to WrestleMania 18 when they stuck these two guys together, because that's exactly what they did. They literally just threw them together, and that is a shame. It's a shame because when you think of how huge Stone Cold is and how huge Scott Hall is, but based on the time, it was WrestleMania 18. Was that shortly before Austin left or after?
Well, it was in 2002, and he left in 2003.
Yeah, that was WrestleMania, like prior to 19 when he fought The Rock.
Sure, because that was his last match, was at WrestleMania 19.
Because Austin felt like it was starting to get stale already with him. But these are two of arguably the biggest, anti-heroes of all time. And they kind of started, Razor Ramon was actually, maybe arguably one of the biggest first anti-heroes, the bad guy that was the good guy. I thought that they could have really done something bigger with this, and yet it really was a throw together match. I don't know if you got to watch it recently, WrestleMania 18 between Hall and Austin, but it wasn't what it should have been, and Austin kind of just unfortunately kind of buried Hall in that match. I would have liked to have seen it bigger and promoted better. But Hall was also battling his demons at the time, unfortunately. Austin was having some issues at the time as well. Not with demons, but just with other stuff with the company in general. And just maybe his body kind of breaking down and getting ready to leave. It's really a dream match in my mind, those two. And I look back at it, and it's a real shame. Because when you think of it, Stone Cold in his prime versus Razor in his prime, man, that's huge to me. What's your thoughts when you look back on that? Because all they were doing was really focusing primarily on was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. When, in my opinion, the two biggest of all time are Hogan and Austin. Number 3 is The Rock. And then you throw them all three together, and there's your WrestleMania 30 moment. Mm-hmm. But it was such a mixed up moment at that time. It should have been Austin and Hogan. It wasn't Austin and Hogan. It was The Rock and Hogan. And then you got Austin and Hall. Well, that's awesome, but it was completely overshadowed. What's your thoughts, James? That's my opinion.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I didn't get a chance to watch this match
ever
recently. No, I have seen it.
Because it's been a little bit for me, but I do recall some things about it.
I recall it not being very good.
Well, exactly.
From a work standpoint.
Hall was rough in that match.
That could be some behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
I know shortly after that, Stone Cold left the WWE for a bit, right? Because I think they wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar.
It was around that era.
Lesnar was just coming in. And
that was after that match?
That was not too long after that, I believe. Yeah, because Lesnar, I don't even know if Lesnar had debuted yet, to be honest. Because the brand split hadn't happened yet, had it? Because the brand split actually didn't happen until...
It's hard to believe. WrestleMania 18. Oh, it's all kind of mashing together now.
Yeah. Well, that was after the invasion. And then the brand split happened in... Yeah, it would have been after WrestleMania.
You're right. I think that it.
I think it would have been after WrestleMania. So then Lesnar would have.
So yeah, that was the drama side of the Stone Cold portion.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he left and then came back, and so there wasn't too many matches after that between that and The Rock and him
Yeah.
at WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
Which was a fairly okay match. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure where you stand on that. I'm not even sure how much, to be honest with you, James, how much of a Hall fan you are in general. But I just thought that match should have been bigger, and they weren't really pushing Hall to be the guy that he once was. It was almost like he was an upper mid-carder versus Stone Cold, which was a degrading main carder.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that, today, Scott Hall is a part of the WWE Hall of Fame
Yeah.
as Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
But when he came back as part of the NWO, like nobody talked about him being Razor Ramon
No.
back in 2002, 2003, right? He was just
The only thing.
Scott Hall.
Yeah,
part of
it's
the
only when he
NWO.
would do the Razor's Edge, they'd say the Razor's Edge, whereas they would never say the Razor's Edge in Impact Wrestling. It was the Outsider's Edge.
Well, the Outsider Edge was when he was part of the Outsiders.
Sorry, it was something Edge. The Edge, I think it was. Oh,
Could
it
be
was.
just the
Yeah,
Edge.
just something Edge.
Yeah, it could have been just the Edge, but I don't really. It's weird. Like, he certainly was not looked at as nearly a top guy. I agree. It should have probably have been Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold. Like, really, if you're talking about the two main guys of two different eras,
Sure.
it's going to be Hulk Hogan. It's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you had The Rock. The Rock was against Hulk Hogan, and who knows? Like, there may have not have been that resurgence of Hulk Hogan's career had it been against Stone Cold, just because Stone Cold really was, he was the man in the late 90s, early 2000s.
And they wouldn't have agreed on who was going to win that match. That's what's funny is Hogan was willing to lose to The Rock.
Mhm.
I don't think Hogan was willing to lose to Austin.
I mean, who knows, right? I mean, he
Well,
might have.
I think Austin has
business.
said that there was never an agreement on who would win. And you know what that says, if that's true? That says that both of those men agree that they were the top dogs.
Yeah, and there's also history between Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin as well. Like, back in 1995,
Yeah.
when Steve Austin was part of WCW, Hulk Hogan was also part of WCW
Yeah.
and was apparently a part of the creative team. Maybe not officially on the creative team, but he was definitely involved in storylines and what have you. And the story goes that Hulk Hogan basically, was kind of holding back Steve Austin, right?
Yeah.
So there could have certainly been some resentment and stuff there, which is maybe why they decided to not have Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold, because there was that history. Can they work together? I think they probably could both say sure, but like you said, exactly who would win that match? There might have been a tug of war in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Whereas against The Rock, since there wasn't any kind of a history, Hulk Hogan could potentially just say, "Yeah, sure, I'll lay down."
I think that's exactly it. And I also truly believe Hogan knew that The Rock was essentially the number 3 guy. So it doesn't hurt to lay down for The Rock. Whereas laying down for Austin meant other things. You'd see things differently. That's my opinion.
That's
I really
an interesting
do believe
point.
that. I really do believe that it looked... If he were to lose to Austin, it would basically solidify Austin as the best of all time. And I think that probably ate up Hogan. I'm going to flip it around. Same thing with Austin. Austin didn't want to lay down to Hogan. Same thing. Hogan would be known as, undisputed. He's the best of all time. And I could see where there's a stronghold there. There's an issue. Whereas, The Rock, in my opinion, when Austin and The Rock were both hot, I still think Austin was, a notch higher than The Rock. Always was.
Mm-hmm.
Always was. Austin was gone. The Rock was the number one guy. Triple H was getting to be the number two guy. Austin came back. Crowd pops. A little bit louder for Austin.
Yeah.
Just how it was. Just how it is.
Yeah. No, and that's actually a pretty interesting perspective. I don't think I really thought about it that way before. But you're right, exactly. Like you've got two arguable number ones.
Yeah.
And then you've got The Rock at number 3, pretty much. When we're talking about all time.
Well, even The Rock at WrestleMania 30 said it. He stood in the middle of the ring, pointed to both those guys. He says, the two biggest guys in wrestling history right here.
Mm-hmm.
And he pointed to them. I respected that.
Yeah.
He basically put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to lie. I think The Rock's number 3. That's my opinion. You got other huge guys like Andre, Ric Flair, etc., Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Look at those names I just said. But I don't know, those 3 guys.
I think pretty much any casual wrestling fan,
Mm-hmm.
which really, in the grand scheme of things, is the majority, the casual fans. There's lots of hardcore fans.
Yeah.
But there's lots of people that are kind of on the outside a little bit. Definitely watch wrestling here and there. Know of wrestlers.
Yeah.
I would say they like top 3 wrestlers of all time. For Hulk Hogan, yeah. The Rock, yeah. Stone Cold, yeah.
The only 2 others I could see would be Andre and Ric Flair, as someone saying one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think Sting would be in there.
I don't think Sting
No.
would be in the conversation.
But
at
I
all.
think Ric Flair and Andre the Giant are the only 2 others that you might get some really, really old timer. Not Lou Ted, but like the Lou Ted, the really old era. You might get some Gorgeous George or something like that.
I'm a huge fan of Frank Gotch.
Yeah. Who knows? There's the old time wrestlers.
George Hackenschmidt.
But I think Flair and Andre are the other 2 that people might say, those are the other 2, or those are the Andre, Hogan, and Flair. I could see someone saying that and not saying, those 2 Attitude Era guys, Austin and The Rock, screw them.
That's not even wrestling.
Yeah, you never know though. You might see someone say that.
Yeah, true.
But those 5 guys I think stand out.
Yeah.
That's that. I just wanted to kind of bring up that topic and see what you felt
Okay.
regarding that. Okay, guys, we're going back into WrestleMania 33 mode. James, you and we are going to list off every match,
okay,
and we're going to quickly give our opinion on who is going to win that match.
Okay.
All right? We're going to start off with the big ones. So, WWE Universal Championship, Goldberg versus Brock. Who you calling?
I am calling Brock Lesnar.
I'm calling Brock Lesnar as well. I don't think we're going to see Goldberg anymore after that. He's done.
I think he's pretty much done too.
Cool. Next. WWE World Championship, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt.
I'm going to go Bray Wyatt.
I agree. Orton's been around a long time. He's had his belts, and I think it's going to help Bray, and I think he wants to help Bray.
And I don't really think Randy Orton at this point needs the belt.
I think you're right. I think he wants to help Bray. I think this is a building thing for Bray Wyatt.
I'm good with that. Yeah,
Okay.
but no, Bray Wyatt for sure.
Yeah, I call that as well. Next up, WWE United States Championship match, Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho.
This is a tough one. I'm going to say KO.
I agree. I think Jericho's going on tour with Fozzy.
I've heard conflicting reports,
Yeah.
actually, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think he is.
I think Jericho doesn't need the belt. KO is still new to the scene. I'm calling KO on this.
Yeah. I don't think Jericho needs the belt, and I think KO, he could use the belt for sure. And it helps kind of move that along too, like in regards to the storyline. Getting back to Chris Jericho, he's got Fozzy. He also has another music side project he's a part of.
Oh, okay.
They just put an album out. It's called Blood Divisions. It's him and a bunch of like metal bands from the 80s, like other guitar players and stuff, and and various people from metal bands that he likes from like the 80s and stuff. Kind of like a super group of sorts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
It depends on what kind of style you like.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anywho, moving along.
WWE Intercontinental Championship. Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It better be Corbin. Baron Corbin. Raw Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way Elimination Match. That's a long, long title. Sasha Banks versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Nia Jax. I'm going to start this one.
Go for it.
This is, I got a two-way explanation on this. So, I think either, okay, my number one guess is Sasha Banks. Yeah, Sasha Banks will win. My number two pick is Nia Jax. This is how I see it. Sasha and Bayley will either be, so only one pin, right, in this match?
No, it's an elimination match.
Elimination?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sasha and Bayley will be the final two. Sasha will do some sort of a heel tactic on Bayley, doing the full turn of the heel, and she'll pin Bayley. Or Bayley and Sasha, Nia will pin Sasha, and Sasha will either blame Bayley and turn heel on her, or she'll attack Bayley. Either way, I think it's either going to be Sasha or Nia winning, and somehow Bayley is going to get attacked by Sasha. But my number one is Sasha. Number two is Nia. Sorry for the long-winded explanation there.
It's all good. So I definitely see Sasha, and I mean, it's very clear Sasha is going to be turning on Bayley.
Yes.
In some fashion. Now, I don't necessarily think that Sasha's going to win the match. I don't see Bayley retaining. I don't see Nia Jax winning either. I think she's just a little too new.
I actually am a Nia Jax fan. She reminds me of Lesnar, as much as Tyler doesn't agree. But she destroys everyone in her path, and I like that. I'd like to see her as the champ, and I'd like to see neither Bayley nor Sasha win. If they want to feud and make Sasha heel, go ahead. But I'd like to see somehow neither win, and Nia win the belt. Mm-hmm. As much as I like Charlotte as champ as well. But I have a feeling Sasha's going to win and be heel in the process.
Yeah. So that could very well happen. So it could be Sasha. Definitely not Bayley. I don't think Nia Jax is winning. I think you're right. She's a monster.
Yeah.
She throws people around. She's dominant, but she needs to work on the mic skills a little bit.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks I've heard her. She comes down. She is annoying.
Yeah, she's got a higher pitch voice.
Higher pitch. And yeah, she's obviously reading the lines through her head.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very put on.
Yeah, we'll discuss it quickly in
believable.
Raw, but yeah, she had that moment when she was walking into the ring on Raw where she paused, went through the ropes, and then continued talking. It was one of the most awkward things I'd ever seen when somebody's talking coming up to the ring. But anyways, my guess, Sasha.
Sasha. For me, I'm going to say Charlotte.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to say Charlotte. I am going to say Sasha is going to either pin Bayley.
Okay.
Or Sasha's going to be somehow get caused. She'll lose the match.
We're adding complexity
because of Bayley somehow. And then she's going to turn on Bayley after the match.
This kind of adds interest to this match. You got to admit, as much as we don't really like some of these individuals to a degree, are guessing on when Sasha's going to turn heel adds to the interest. We're almost going to be like betting as we watch. When is she going to turn? heel.
Like, I'm not interested in the match really itself.
How and when the heel turns.
Pretty much.
That's what's interesting.
But I'm going to say it's either going to be Charlotte or Sasha.
Okay, and I'm Sasha or Nia.
Okay.
And if Sasha doesn't turn heel, we got something to discuss on the next podcast, because then something's really wrong.
None of this makes any sense.
Oh, my God.
None of it makes sense if she doesn't turn heel.
Cool. All right. SmackDown Women's Championship. Alexa Bliss versus all-female SmackDown Live superstars who are available to compete. That's how it was titled on WWE's website, by the way.
Wonderful.
So that's Natalya, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Mickie James. Those are the confirmed individuals. We said, who else have we said?
Victoria,
the NXT individual there.
Asuka. We talked about,
Yeah, there's some others. I don't really care about this match, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to say Alexa Bliss will retain.
I completely agree. It's just a thrown together match. Up until today, it was going to be on the pre-show. That's how much they thought about it. Mm-hmm. I as much as I think it's okay, I guess, that the Cruiserweight title match is on the pre-show, especially after hearing what Austin Aries had to say about it. I would prefer to be on the main show, but it's okay. It's on the pre-show. I just don't think that title matches should be on the pre-show. I think the title matches should be on the main card. The title matches, titles they should mean something, and it just diminishes it, especially when they're not on the main show. Yeah. So, anywho, all that said, Alexa Bliss gonna win.
Cool. Raw Tag Team title. Raw Tag Team Championship triple threat ladder match. Oof. Man, these are tongue twisters. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, essentially the club, versus Enzo and Big Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro. My guess, Sheamus and Cesaro, unless the Hardy Boys somehow show up, then the Hardys, I guess. But I'm going with Sheamus and Cesaro on this one.
Since my call is that the Hardy Boys are returning on Raw to challenge for and win the Raw Tag Team Championships, I'm going to actually say the club's going to win this one.
Okay.
The club's going to win, but unfortunately, just to lose the next night. But in any case, I don't think Enzo and Big Cass are going to win. It could be Sheamus and Cesaro, but...
Hey, look at the next one I wrote down. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos versus the American Alpha.
You know what, to be honest, that this match should have been left for WrestleMania. They shouldn't have just had it on SmackDown.
Who would have won that one? American Alpha.
At WrestleMania?
If it would have happened, this match.
Nah, the Usos would have won. I mean, the Usos won on SmackDown, so and you'd think that they would probably have won on WrestleMania. Yeah. But it should, why did they have it on SmackDown?
I don't know. That's just like 205 Live there with...
Makes no sense.
With Akira Tozawa there.
And then they're not even, it's not even, you could easily just even had a rematch at WrestleMania.
Sure.
But no. Let's just crap all over it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So this isn't even happening. So.
No, it's not happening, so let's not talk about it.
All right. WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Neville versus Austin Aries. I'm going with Neville. I want Neville to retain.
I certainly want Neville to retain.
I'm going with Neville. I know that a lot of faces win at WrestleMania, but I'm going with Neville on this one. I think they like Neville a lot.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Neville as well. I think they're going to have Austin chase for a bit.
I agree with you.
A bit more.
I think there's going to be a bit of chasing from Austin Aries. I don't think he's quite at the level of Neville. There's a bit of ring rust, I think. I see it. And... I think that's where they're going. Yeah,
and I think this could be a really good match. I think they might give it a bit of time, but I don't think it's not going to be a 5-minute match. But
it'll be good.
It'll be a good match. Yeah,
it'll be a good one.
Sure. It'll be one of those matches where Austin Aries still looks good.
Yeah,
even though he loses.
Yeah, agreed.
Because Neville will win.
Yeah, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Who am I gonna pick on this one? Braun Strowman.
Mojo Rawley.
God. They interviewed him on the red carpet. Looks like a complete tool, by the way.
You know, it's funny. You don't even have Braun Strowman on your list.
I didn't?
Nope.
Oh, my God.
He's not even on it. Braun Strowman.
Oh, he's like the most obvious contender.
Nah, he's going to win. I agree.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I don't even know who would number 2 be. Well, Big Show, I guess. Big
Jinder
Show
Mahal.
actually. Did you know Big Show was actually discussing on the red carpet that he fully admitted it? Renee Young complimented on his physique.
Yeah.
He's like, "Thank you. I've been working really hard in the gym. I thought I was gonna have a match with Shaq this year.
Yeah.
Clearly that didn't happen. So I'm gonna use my, well, I don't know what he said, my physique or my endurance or whatnot. That all my hard work towards the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and I'll win the second." You could tell he was bummed.
Yeah, we've talked about that previously. Like, it's a shame because one of the big reasons I'm sure that he had been working out was for this potential big match against Shaq.
But why work out so hard against a non-wrestler? That's where I don't get it. He should have faced like somebody like Strowman for something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna look good to fight Braun Strowman, not Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. Next up, Roman Reigns versus Undertaker. Sigh.
Yeah.
Roman, I think, is going to win.
I think he's going to win too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shane versus AJ.
It's got to be AJ.
I agree.
Please.
I agree, AJ Styles.
Please, AJ.
Yeah, I think they're going to respect AJ on this one. So AJ Styles, I'm sure Shane wants AJ to win as a shoot. Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice. I almost 100% guarantee Cena and Nikki will win this.
I can't see any other result.
No, Nikki is looking to retire. Cena rumor that he's going to propose. There's no reason why Maurice and Miz would win this one.
I didn't watch the video, but I saw kind of like a transcript of it. Brie Bella posted something it was either yesterday or today on YouTube, addressing the rumors that John Cena is going to propose to Nikki at WrestleMania, and she says it's not going to happen.
Well, I kind of hope it doesn't, because it's so like clearly Nikki would know about it.
Yeah.
So that adds cheesiness and hokiness to it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. And then lastly, what do we got here? Seth Rollins versus Triple H.
Seth Rollins will win. Triple H loses nearly every WrestleMania. It's very much known. His record at WrestleMania is very poor.
He beat Sting.
He did. He's won a couple times. He beat Brock Lesnar as well. But no, he's actually, you know that, right? That Triple H is known to he's got a lot of losses at WrestleMania. Look it up, James. Anyways, Seth's a young guy. It hurts him if he loses to Triple H. It does nothing for Triple H to win. I think Seth will win.
I agree. Triple H doesn't need the win.
No, not at all. God, no. He has to build Seth.
Yeah.
Seth's still very, very new. So one little point. Which match do you think is going to steal the show? Nothing is super solid this year, so it's a hard one. My opinion, I think Shane versus AJ. I think people will be surprised with how good Neville and Austin Aries will be. And I think Orton and Bray will be good. Your thoughts?
I think KO and Jericho will be a great match.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, actually, that'll be better than Orton versus Bray. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I think Baron Corbin has a chance to really shine.
That's my problem. That's going to be very good.
In his match against Ambrose.
That'll be very good as well. You're right.
Yeah, and then the ones you mentioned for sure. I think the cruiserweight match is going to be really, really good. Shane versus AJ. I think it'll be okay. It'll be good because you'll see a big spot.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna change it up. I still think Shane versus AJ because of a spot. That's the reason why I said that. I always thought Corbin versus Dean is gonna be killer. Yeah, and then maybe Neville and maybe the Kevin Owens versus Jericho. Yeah, those are 4 there. Orton, Bray, it'll be average. That'll be average.
Mm-hmm.
All the others we haven't named, those will not be show stealers. I don't think people will be talking about Goldberg and Lesnar or Undertaker versus Roman Reigns in years to come the same way.
You don't think so?
I don't think they'll be show stealers. But yeah, that's that in regards to our topics.
And that's that.
And that's that. That moves us over to our review / recap of the March 27th edition of Monday Night Raw. That one was in Philly, James.
It was in Philly.
Yeah. Crowd wasn't as crazy as I thought they were going to be, gotta be honest with you. I always saw Chicago and Philly as the two big. Well, even Chicago as of late when they're in Chicago. Maybe they're just... the pressure of being the crowds that they once were are draining them.
Yeah, well, Philly is definitely known for crapping all over people.
They are.
So they like, so they may not necessarily be hot, but if there's something they don't like, they'll let you know it.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that standard WWE opener that we always see before the music hits. But this one was interrupted with a glitchy Undertaker cemetery vignette with his music playing in the background. Yeah, I guess that's part of the Roman Reigns thing. It was kind of lame.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Were these new writers that did that? But it was really broken.
It was very hokey.
Yeah. It did nothing.
It did absolutely nothing. These little you kind of saw this throughout the night.
And the comment and the announcers were talking about it. Normally they would be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
I don't know. So after that, so we basically start to show off with the Raw women's segment. Did you see this one?
I did, yeah, for sure.
So it started off with Bayley. So not a great city to start Bayley off in.
Yeah.
We just discussed what Philly is like. They were fairly nice to her, though. They could have been a lot worse to poor Bayley. But once again, she talked more about her childhood, growing up with her friends, and how this was her favorite time of the year.
Yeah, talked about, she used to order WrestleMania with her friends and all that kind of thing, right? And then she said, and this year she's in WrestleMania, which she actually said about 5 times in the course of about 20 seconds. It was just, she had nothing else to really say.
That's because she sucks on the mic.
Unfortunately, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, she runs out of things to say, and that's what happens.
Yep. But one thing she was doing, wearing the belt.
Oh God.
Anyways, keep going.
Gushing over that one, eh? So yeah, after she was done talking about her childhood, Charlotte's music hits, and we get the more woo chants from the crowd.
Yep.
As usual, that's her thing now, of course. I like that Charlotte called Bayley a paper champion,
Yep.
and I think we both agree on that one.
Yeah.
Based on the cheating that was done to win that belt. Quote from Charlotte, she called her the naive fangirl living in a woman's world.
That was a good line, especially because she kept kind of saying, she needs to get her head out of the clouds and things like that. So I thought that was a really good line, and it kind of hits the nail on the head there for sure. Kind of went on and talked about, she wouldn't even be the champion if it wasn't for Sasha.
Yep.
One thing I noted here is that, got to make sure you point to that sign.
Oh God, of course.
And Bayley, she says that Bayley will walk out with no title, no friends, no future.
Oh man, she said that Sasha's friendship with Bayley was fake. So she constantly is pointing that. The foreshadowing of what may or will likely occur at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
And Nia Jax, her music hits. She comes out.
Sasha actually came out first.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, where was I on this?
Couldn't tell you, but no, Sasha came out first. And then she actually straight out said that she's gonna beat Bayley at WrestleMania, even with this big goofy smile on her face. And Bayley kind of looked at her like, "Huh?"
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
I do remember this now.
And then Nia Jax came out, of course, and did her thing, said her spiel.
Yeah, she pointed out how the arguments between the 3 girls in the ring were similar to that of a high school drama. But as I'd mentioned earlier, she stopped talking, walked, I don't know, for a few seconds, walked up the ramp, went through the ropes, and then continued to talk. Might want to work on that one.
Yeah.
Because it was certainly awkward. I don't know where else you went with this segment. I stated the segment ended with Sasha beating down Charlotte after Charlotte once again accused Sasha of pretending to like Bayley. And Bayley was on Nia Jax's back, repeatedly striking her in the side of the head. That's it. It led to a match between Sasha and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. The match was actually pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
A lot longer than I thought it would be, or maybe even should be.
Yeah, it was just a pretty standard
There
match.
wasn't really much to it. Yeah, I mean...
I noticed they wrestled with a little bit more intensity. They were a little bit more vocal with their strikes. Bayley got the Bayley to belly on Charlotte to win the match. Nia then took out the three women after the match.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley got the pin clean on Charlotte. I noted that it's likely a sign that she will in turn lose at WrestleMania, because often if somebody wins the night or a couple nights before on the Raw or the SmackDown, generally they'll probably lose at the pay-per-view.
No, I agree. And since she got the win, she's not going to win at WrestleMania. Since Nia Jax kind of ended up looking so strong at the end, that leads me to believe she's not going to win at WrestleMania
that's how you
either.
turned on that.
That's kind of where my thoughts came from. But the beatdown was kind of cool though.
Yeah,
kind of killed them all.
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah. So this led to a quick segment. By the way, very, very, very segmenty Raw again.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe more segmenty than our last segmenty Raw. That's what happens with a Raw before WrestleMania.
Basically, it was just to kind of get everything in.
There weren't that
just
many matches.
Remind you of everything.
Yeah,
basically.
there weren't a lot of matches on this.
No.
So the quick segment recapping Triple H, Seth Rollins segment last week, finishing off with "Am I Savage" by Metallica. So I noted that I hope they use this at WrestleMania because I don't know, the Pitbull and Flow Rider tunes, not for me.
No, they're not doing it for me either.
That's just my personal opinion.
And this is the second or third time that they've used
they're huge
Flow
on
Rider
Flow
song.
Rider.
Hey?
Yeah, they're huge on it.
Love them.
I guess he's child friendly, and that's kind of where
it could be. Yeah,
but whatever. Sami Zayn segment backstage, talking about Foley no longer being around. He announced that he would be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and we'd be dedicating the match to Mick Foley.
Yep, exactly. He says he wants to honor his legacy. So he's going to stand up and he's going to, basically dedicate it to Mick Foley. Exactly.
Stephanie McMahon walks up, advises him that he can't just make this announcement on his own, and he needs to earn this shot in order to get in that match. So she stated that he would be facing Kevin Owens tonight in a no disqualification match. If he wins, he can go ahead and insert himself into that battle royal. If he loses, you're fired.
Yikes.
In that voice.
Just like that?
Yeah, she adopted her dad's voice.
She stole Vince's vocal cords.
So
keeps him in a jar.
More bully tactics that you just love from Steph. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, I can't even stand it. I can't. It just gets me so much. And it always gets me, like some matches. Yeah, man. I mean, they just make the matches. Yeah. Other matches, no. The general manager has to make that match. It's like, well, how come the general manager didn't make all these other matches?
I know, even Foley.
So inconsistent.
Foley, I think on that podcast that we were discussing there, the greatest podcast, Jericho asks how much input the GMs have, and he kind of chuckles because it's all a work. But he's like, "Whoa, we could give some idea." Yeah. They have really no say whatsoever. They're just a figurehead, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're whatever. So
yeah.
All right, so this led to a Aries versus Noam Dar.
Mm-hmm. And our boy Neville was on the commentary.
Yeah, on the top
announcers.
stage.
Yeah.
You got it. So Neville first makes sure to correct the announcers that he is king of the cruiserweights.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yep.
Very heel. Liked it. Quote from Neville I wanted to note. I'm just out here to give Austin Aries the opportunity to impress me as he has yet to do so. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Aries kicked off the match with a drop kick to Noam Dar while he was distracted blowing a kiss to Alicia Fox. Neville stated that this was his first WrestleMania on his own. I didn't know this. I guess he's been in tag team matches ever since.
Oh.
Did you know this? He's never had a
No.
one-on-one match.
Oh, wow. He's been with the company for
A while.
Yeah. Well, he was with NXT for sure.
Yeah.
And then he was injured for a while as well. So, but yeah, I never.
Unless
never
I
really
misheard
knew
it,
that.
I was very surprised, but
You're
that's why I
probably
noted it.
You're probably right. I don't really remember.
Yeah. Another quote from Neville. This is not going to be a dream match that everyone expects. This will be a run-of-the-mill.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he's just going to run over Aries, he
Yep.
said. And I noted that Neville always seems to note that he has some respect for Mustafa Ali. And then I'm not sure why. He always mentions this guy.
Does he? I guess I missed that.
Yeah, he always, he's a heel. Mustafa Ali is a face. But he always seems to say that Mustafa Ali, I have respect for him. He reminds me of myself when I was young, but he's not at the level that I'm at right now. Why is he saying? What is with this Mustafa Ali? Like, does he know him on a personal level? He's trying to give him a thumbs up.
They're the good buddies, yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's just odd. He's always saying it. And Mustafa Ali, there's nothing special about this guy as of right now that I'm aware of. But
Yeah,
I just wanted to mention that because I'm always noticing he's giving a little thumbs up for Mustafa Ali, whereas he's not doing that for any other faces or certainly even all the heels. He seems to hate most of the heels too, making him the ultimate heel.
Yeah.
So, another quote. This was a long one. I like this one. That's why I made sure to quote this one. Let me tell you something about Austin Aries, Michael. Austin Aries is a perfect example of what's wrong with society, specifically America. He is a better talker than he is a fighter. He's a phony. He's a fake, and I'm going to expose him at WrestleMania.
I love how he says it with his accent. Who's like, he's a phony and he's a fake.
Oh, and he's just doing this off the whim of his, I don't know.
Oh, it's probably off the cuff. Like I think they're. It's just like a lot of guys. Like I think if they just give them, some main points.
Yeah.
To get at, it makes it feel more real, right? Whereas if you're just trying to memorize lines all the time, which is where Nia Jax kind of got in trouble earlier, right? That's kind of what happened there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing because the next thing I wrote was our boy Corey Graves. Quote, listen, Neville, I tried to get Austin Aries to stay here in the commentary table. Maybe replace Saxton, but instead he insisted on challenging for your title. I love how Corey Graves is always burying Saxton.
No, he just buries him. I saw on that red carpet tonight there that you posted.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. He says, I'm here with the first time I'm showing off my wife. Saxton, I heard that you were going to bring your girlfriend, but she popped.
Blow up doll. Very good.
Thank you.
Just so the fans didn't catch that one. Love it. Corey Graves.
He's great.
He's great.
And then Austin Aries, he won with the discus forearm there.
The discus 5-arm.
Calls it the 5-arm?
They call it the 5-arm now.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep.
And then he's got that submission of his, the last chancery, which I really like.
That's Neville's, right? Move that he stole from Neville for that moment?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's his own.
Because they mentioned that. Okay, so who does the Rings of Saturn?
That's Austin. That's Neville. Neville does that, doesn't he?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it's part of the gimmick that they've been stealing each other's moves.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe I forgot.
So Austin Aries is the Rings of Saturn, right? Yeah.
Now I'm confused.
And I think Austin Aries' move is the Ring of Saturn, and Neville used it recently. And Neville's move is the last chancery. Austin Aries used it.
That
But
probably makes
they
more
haven't
sense.
been using these moves long enough for the fans to realize this. It's no Austin doing the rock bottom and the Rock doing the stunner. So it's really confusing to you and I right now.
I'm very confused.
I am too. They just haven't been using these moves long enough. Heck, the Rings of Saturn's done by Perry Saturn. So we're really confused.
The last chancery is Austin Aries' move. So I think you're just kind of making this all up in your head.
Whatever. That's what the commentators made it sound like. I'm so confused.
Anyways, great move regardless of who does it.
Sure, whatever.
It was very cool.
Maybe the announcers were confused and I adopted their confusion. Anyways, the match ended up finishing with Neville standing on top of the ramp, looking down at Aries, staring at him in the ring.
Cool.
Next up, James, that was the Seth Rollins and Triple H whole harmless agreement contract signing. That's what it's called.
Is that what it's called? The whole harmless agreement?
I do believe that's what it's called.
Or hold. It's hold. It's hold harmless.
Hold?
Agreement. Hold. Yeah.
Hold.
Because you can't. I think it's like you can't hold the other one responsible for what happened.
Okay,
to
that
the
makes
other
more
one, something
sense.
Like
I was
that.
trying to understand what they were.
But it's such a mouthful. Like.
Okay.
No, it would have been easier to just say just say non-sanctioned.
Yeah, that would be
or
fine.
unsanctioned. That's easy to follow.
Sure.
So, so anyways, the contract signing, Triple H came down, of course. He starts off by warning Seth that if he attacks him before they sign the contract, he will defend himself. And the match is off at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Triple H starts off by demeaning Seth, ordering him to sit down in the chair and to listen to him. He starts off by walking away until finally Seth sits down. Triple H turns to him and says, "Good boy." I was like, oh my God. Kind of bullying again. Yeah, I don't know. That was almost too much.
Triple H and Stephanie, man, they're like the ultimate bullies.
They are. Good boy. Like treating him like a pet, like a dog.
Yeah.
I saw that coming too. When the way he ordered him, I'm like, he's ordering him like a dog.
Yeah.
And he said, "Good boy." I'm like, oh man, he did it. But we're talking about it. It's heel.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. He is a good. He's a good heel.
Oh, one of the best.
But
he's one of my favorite heels, actually. But
I don't know. It's just.
But yeah, again,
there's
a bit of a bully. Yeah.
Yeah. I have here that after that, basically, Triple H yacked for about 4 minutes straight.
Is that what it was?
Oh, it seemed like a long time.
CM Punk chants were coming from the crowd.
Yeah, they were coming through. Yep, the CM Punk's.
He didn't let it bother him. They stopped.
He didn't. He just kept going.
Steph gets bothered by it more.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Triple H too. He's kind of he's.
They expect it.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? And he's a tough guy. He just lets it slide off his back.
Sure.
So yes, Triple H reminded Seth that what he's going to do to him at WrestleMania, basically saying, of course, that he gives up all his rights and he won't be able to sue him if he gets injured, which is what this whole hold harmless agreement is all about.
Yeah.
Triple H tells Seth that he should be happy with the money he's making for his family and to stop worrying about his conscience. And Triple H goes ahead and goes and signs it up there. And then he said, "There's never been a one-legged man to win an ass-kicking contest ever."
Yeah, when he said that, I immediately thought of Zach Gowen. I don't know why, but I'm like, man, they had a one-legged wrestler in the WWE. That's bad. I know it's just a term or
it's something JR used to say. He's like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
Didn't Zach Gowen beat Hogan?
I think he. Or no. I don't recall. He beat somebody big, but I don't recall who he beat. Might have been Kurt Angle even.
I know. I just overthought that one.
Oh, okay.
But I just figured I'd mention Zach Gowen on that one.
Now, everyone listening is going to be like, oh my gosh, WWE is... They're terrible people.
Terrible. Poor Zach Gowen. Seth had an interesting quote. He said, "I liked myself before I met you."
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. kind of made it look like Triple H kind of ripped him apart and kind of ruined everything for him.
Yeah, he said that before he met Triple H, he was actually he was happy with himself for wrestling for a hot dog and a handshake. That's what he said.
That's right. Wrestling for the troops.
Or just for the joy of wrestling. He
Sure.
just loved it.
Yeah.
But then he got himself involved with Triple H, and that all changed, right? So he says everything with Triple H is BS, and that he will definitely get his redemption at WrestleMania because he gave up everything to stand up next to Triple H, and for what? Nothing will stop him from getting back what he was before he met Triple H. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth signed that contract, and as soon as he did, Triple H, well, he went into Triple H mode, kicked the table. Table hit Seth in the legs. Seth went down. They got in a good scuffle.
Yeah.
Seth ended up winning the fight. He ended up actually hitting Triple H over the back with his own crutch. It did look like Triple H was going to win again, though. You know, they've done a good job where they're making Triple H look stronger than Seth.
Yeah.
And you know, in that segment, Seth actually ended up coming over in the end.
Yeah. I thought it was a good segment. I think with Triple H attacking him, it was very predictable.
Yeah.
You saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
But like
Warning him.
you said, yeah, Rollins getting his bit in and then stood tall in the ring at the end there. Well, as good as he could with one leg, but
Yeah, sure.
yeah, no, it was a good segment.
And then the announcers commented that the match would be a non-sanctioned match. So help me out here. What's the definition of, in this case, a non-sanctioned match?
It's just
Was it supposed to happen?
Well, I mean, when Shawn Michaels and Triple H fought back in SummerSlam 2002, they refer to that as a non-sanctioned match.
Is that when Shawn wore jeans and
That is
cowboy
correct.
boots?
Yes. So basically, what they're saying is that he's not cleared to wrestle, but he's basically signing on the dotted line to say we're gonna fight. But if I get injured because I'm not cleared to wrestle,
Okay.
then you know I can't hold WWE liable for it. So I mean it's a gimmick, right?
Sure.
Because obviously Seth Rollins is good. Like if he wasn't truly healthy enough to wrestle,
Agreed.
they're not going to let him wrestle, right?
Right.
Right. It's all part of the story, which makes it intriguing because then you're kind of thinking, okay, is he actually? Will he be able to fight? Is his leg gonna be bothering him the whole time? So, anyways, it's cool. But yeah, that's what that non-sanction means.
Cool. All right. Well, on to the next match after that. That was the amazing over the top rope challenge.
My note here was what?
Yeah, it was garbage. It was garbage. Big Show eliminates Jinder Mahal. Big Show eliminates Bo Dallas. Big Show eliminates the Shining Stars. Curtis Axel, R-Truth, Goldust, and all who I just mentioned return into the ring, and they eliminate the Big Show. ... What? Like, what?
Yeah.
So Big Show returns to the ring, and then he takes out everyone except for Goldust and R-Truth, who essentially tuck their tails beneath their legs, and they roll out of the ring in what was supposed to be a humorous moment to make Big Show look all big and tough. I noted how this match was just stupid, and it was just meant to make the Big Show look strong. Then Braun Strowman's music hits. Strowman from the ramp. If I wanted to, I'd come out there and kick your ass right now. That's what everyone wants to see, he said. But I do what I do, and they're all going to have to wait till WrestleMania. So that was it.
What was the point of this?
Essentially to make Big Show and Braun Strowman look like they will be the last two in the over-the-top rope or battle royal whatever thinger at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I didn't need this segment to know that they're going to be the last two.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Apparently, there's going to be some surprises, according to Big Show, on the red carpet tonight. He said.
Really?
He says there will be some surprises.
Is Ty Dillinger going to show up again?
Oh God. Oh yeah, you're right. It probably will be NXT guys. Those are the surprises. Who else would it be? Who cares? This is such a.
It could be Elias Sampson, who was just who just lost in NXT.
Oh yeah. Oh, I knew he was going to lose because we mentioned there was rumors.
Yeah.
I thought we did. Anyways, it was on there that he would be coming over to the main roster.
Yeah.
So he lost to that
Cassius Ohno
guy that looks like Bradshaw back in the day when he was
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he looks like when he was Justin Hawk.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
What's up with that guy, that Ono guy? Anyways,
he was with WWE a while ago. He used to be known as Chris Hero.
He's got a strange look, man.
Well, he has gained a lot of weight.
Okay, I noticed that. But it's strange weight. It's not like big guy like KO and even Samoa Joe. It's like he shouldn't look like that weight. I don't know anything. Help me out here. Tell me more about him.
I don't know much else, to be honest. All I know is that he was kind of being groomed, I think, to move up the chain, as it were.
Okay.
But then he got injured, and he's been injured for quite some time. Not as long as that other guy. Who's the guy? The Japanese wrestler that was injured for. He's been injured forever.
Are you talking about Nakamura?
No, not Nakamura. He's okay.
Oh, he was injured.
It was a smaller guy. I can't think of his name. In Japan, he was just referred to as Kenta, but I can't think of his. His name
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
He's been injured forever, but anyways.
Taka Michinoku?
No, not Taka Michinoku. Kaientai. But no. So anywho, aside from that, I don't really know much about him. So now I guess they're going to try to keep building him up a little bit more.
Right. I could see. Well, I don't know much about him, but maybe he will be the filler for when they are forced to move over Nakamura and
Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Because they were mentioned, on the podcast I was just mentioning there with Austin and Court Bauer. Yeah. They're like, well, why? Austin was mentioning, well, they, are they going to be moving those guys over? And I'm thinking to myself, they don't have much more after they move over for main guys. That's the thing. They want to keep NXT at a reasonably high level. If you take away all of your your top guys, what are you left with? That's the problem, though. It's not fair to those guys, though, right? You want to see Nakamura and Bobby Roode, progress to the main roster. So maybe that's what Ono is there for. He will, he could fill the role maybe in the future. I don't know.
Could be, and I don't know a heck of a lot about him.
No, I know.
So I guess we'll kind of see what happens with him as they go along. But yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, you can't. It's almost like back in the day when WWF, like in the '80s, raided all of these little companies of their wrestlers, and left these little companies in shambles because they took all their stars.
Yeah.
It's but it's almost like it's like if they keep promoting these guys without really bringing in keeping these strong, fresh guys there. It's like you're raiding your own company.
Essentially, that Impact Wrestling continues to encounter this, right? Because if they wouldn't have brought in Alberto Del Rio or El Patron, and they didn't have Lashley, what would they have? They wouldn't really. I still think they're running on threads, essentially.
The company that bought them, Anthem, is like they'll keep them afloat for a little while.
Yeah.
But I just can't see them holding on to them for all that much longer.
No, they're not what they used to be.
No.
They're really not.
No. But
we'll see what happens with that.
So moving along.
At least they got rid of the name TNA.
Yeah, totally. Now they have now it's Impact.
So the next, so we got lots of segments coming up here, guys. And they're quick. So first one, Gallows and Anderson segment backstage, making fun of Enzo and Cass. That's all I put. that was that for that. You mark anything else for that segment?
No, I wrote I wrote Tom Phillips is in the back with the club.
Tom Phillips, Jericho knows him.
All right, and then then I just wrote then they keep showing that Taker video in the graveyard.
Yeah, the vignette there.
That
you love so much.
Yeah.
And then there was an amazing announcement that Pitbull would be performing some songs at WrestleMania. Yay!
But not just Pitbull, but also Flo Rida.
Yes.
And Lunch Money Lewis.
Oh no!
It's the name of one of the guys.
Oh no!
Lunch Money Lewis.
Oh god!
Terrible.
Who was that white rapper that they used to have too?
Oh, they had him not too long ago either.
Yeah,
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, where he got the best part about him, where he's got pop up power bombed by KO off the stage. That was the best part.
That was great. I like that.
That was good. We'll give thumbs up on that. And then there was Charlie's interview with Reigns. That was a segment backstage about the vignettes that we've been seeing. About the vignettes.
I love how they bring it up. Have you seen these on the screen?
It's so stupid. It ruins it too.
Yeah.
Talking about it. And his match with Undertaker, and Reigns is pulling the confident, kind of touching on the heel.
Yeah.
I like that kind of part about him.
Right.
But he's not going full bore, which upsets me again. Anything you noted about that?
I just wrote, he doesn't really, he kind of said he doesn't care about the mind games.
Right.
Says he doesn't believe in the dead man. He's going to go out there and give a message to the Undertaker in a little bit. And then, that was the whole segment. I mean,
very short things.
Yeah, I really don't like the fact that they're acknowledging the vignettes though.
Oh, it was so not required.
No.
It was so dumb.
Yeah.
And then there was some segment about the New Day.
Yeah, I skipped it. I didn't see it.
It was so bad I actually wrote some couple little things here. And it was really confusing too. Some segment about the New Day ringing in the stock exchange, something about their New Day pops, and some dumb Rocky segment just because they were in Philly.
Wonderful.
It was so mashed together.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible. That's all I wrote.
Sounds like I didn't miss a thing.
Nothing. Byron Saxton reminds the fans that the New Day will be hosting WrestleMania. Corey Graves says that he's been contemplating not going to WrestleMania and might just take the day off.
That's classic.
That made me smile.
That's good stuff. I like that.
Love it. There was then a backstage segment with Sheamus and Cesaro about their match at WrestleMania. Gallows and Anderson ambushed both men, attacking Sheamus with a ladder.
A ladder.
I think they opened up Sheamus too. Sheamus got a whack of stitches over his right eyebrow. You should see him on the red carpet tonight.
Yeah.
He also has a black eye. It's kind of yellowish brown. Oh, you just look at him later. He is messed up looking, but it's kind of cool looking too.
Cool.
Yeah. You know anything regarding that?
No, that was it. But as soon as they started using the ladder, I was like, oh, they're gonna make this a ladder match.
Hardy Boys? Anyone?
No, not gonna happen.
Ah.
Sorry.
One more match for the night. I think this may be one of the last ones.
I think it might be actually.
Our boy Neville versus Jack Gallagher.
Oh.
Jack Gallagher.
Yep.
So Jack Gallagher goofily slithered out of a hold Neville had him in during the match, I noted. And Neville actually kind of broke character for a moment.
Oh.
He laughed.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that.
I think it was legit. It was the way that Gallagher kind of backed out of it, but he slithered out of it. And Neville looks at him, and he kind of chuckled with a smile.
Oh.
It was not a heel look.
Right.
I actually found it amusing. I like it sometimes when guys break character because it just reminds you that they're there to entertain you.
Yeah.
But he went right back to his amazing Neville-ness.
Yeah. No, I do actually remember when he kind of slithered out of the hold. But I didn't see when he broke character.
He laughed.
That's cool.
Amazing release German suplex to Gallagher, I noted. Gallagher with the Mary Poppins leg jump from the top turnbuckle with his umbrella onto Neville. Kind of goofy, but kind of funny, I guess. Yeah. Neville ended up beating Gallagher with the Rings of Saturn.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So whose
That's
move
his
is that?
That's his move.
So he does the Rings of Saturn.
He does the Rings of Saturn, yeah.
Okay.
And that kind of makes sense because he's kind of, he was the man that gravity forgot and stuff like that, right? So
Did Perry Saturn ever have a move called the Rings of Saturn?
that's where it came from, yeah. It's called the Rings, which is funny that they're calling it the Rings of Saturn because that's what they called the move. I don't necessarily know if that's what it was. It certainly wasn't called that originally.
Okay.
I think it's a move that was probably invented in Japan is what I'm guessing.
Sure.
But when Saturn did it, they called it the Rings of Saturn in WCW.
Yeah.
So, to call it the Rings of Saturn now is quite interesting. But it's a cool move. It's a little bit different than when Saturn did it, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool.
And so anyways, there was a quote from Corey Graves. This is a funny one. Go ahead, guys. Make another Mary Poppins reference. But the fact is, at the end of this match, Jack Gallagher is going to wish he had a spoonful of sugar to help that medicine go down. That Neville just dished out. How about that, Saxton? I love it. I just love how he just continues to prod Saxton.
It's good. I like it.
I don't know. And at the end of the match, Austin Aries had a terrible segment with the New Day. Asking them who they thought would win the match at WrestleMania. And what did I note here? Between him and Neville. And he had to do the New Day dance with them in order for them to say Austin Aries. Did you see this?
The only thing I wrote was Aries was in the back with New Day for some reason. Ugh.
It was bad.
That was my
really bad. He was dancing with them.
I didn't watch it. No, I had to skip it.
He damaged himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
you lost some respect for him.
I actually did a little bit. I got to tell you, I actually did a little bit. I know I didn't want to say this earlier, but you and I, when Aries first made his first appearance, we were excited for the change, and I'm already starting to get sour about stuff. I hope his match redeems himself because I don't know, that was lame. He's not as strong on the mic as I thought he was, especially coming from an announcer's position. I just hope, even when he's on the mic and they're interviewing him, what are you going to do in your match against Neville? Well, I have some things up my sleeve, and I've only shown half of what I've got. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, you sound kind of like the underdog here, but yeah. Well, let's see what happens. And Corey Graves basically states, I quote, "I can't believe he associated himself with these fools." So that was that. And we move over to the Roman Reigns and Undertaker segment.
Yeah. So basically, one big thing about this segment is Roman Reigns seemed to be kind of leaning towards the heel side a little bit more. But yeah, he came out. He said he won the Rumble match here in Philly. Had a big grin.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Yeah, said he headlined WrestleMania twice.
Yeah,
lots of booze.
I like this small portion where he was grinning at the crowd. Yeah. I'm like, oh, do this. But I don't know.
Didn't quite pull the trigger.
No.
So he says the match against, I wrote down here, the match against Taker, says he'll do what no one else has done before him. Put the dead man down.
Yeah, that was heel.
But didn't Brock Lesnar put the dead man down?
Pretty sure. But Taker came back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. He'll put him down, and he's going to be down for good.
I thought that. Okay. I thought of that as well, but I'm like, oh, he means permanently. Like, right. He'll never, ever return again.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, to be fair to Reigns, I guess that's what he meant.
Right. And then he yapped some more. He said he doesn't care if you're Goldberg or Lesnar. Certainly not John Cena.
I don't know why he said it like that.
That's me too. And then
There is that foreshadowing?
I don't know.
You heard that, right?
I did. Oh, for
and
sure, yeah.
certainly not John Cena. I'm like, whoa.
And I thought that was weird too because I mean they're not even on the same show.
They're
one
hinting
thing.
that Reigns is going to be the face and Cena's current. You see what's happening here.
One of them is going, yeah. So like, yeah, exactly.
You remember this about a year ago? There were rumors that they were going to face each other, and we said to each other, "Oh my God, they will get booed out." You remember this?
Yeah.
They're trying to do it all over again.
Yeah.
They're building towards it.
And I guess like one of them is going to get traded. Like John Cena's either going to come to Raw or Roman Reigns is going to go to SmackDown. Like you mentioned, Roman Reigns might be traded to SmackDown, so that could very well happen.
Oh God. Yeah. I think we see things. Yeah.
And you'll never see Roman Reigns again.
Nice.
So he said he's going to put him down. He's like, this sold out arena right here, this is my house now because this is my yard.
Yeah, another heel-like thing.
Yeah, more about the yard.
Yep.
And then Undertaker, that cemetery vignette again.
Oh man.
And he came out basically so he's there, right? He's in the cemetery there, right? He's Undertaker. Did he have a shovel? I don't remember.
Yes.
But he's like, at WrestleMania, the Roman Empire will fall, and the ultimate thrill ride will be your last ride.
Horrible. If this is the last match Undertaker has, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mark. This is not your height.
This is not going out on a good note.
I swear you and I are going to discuss this in the years to come if this is his last. You remember when Undertaker ended his career quoting a thrill ride? Oh,
yeah,
man.
It was terrible. And then the he shows the Roman Reigns' tombstone, and then he says,
God, was that fake looking, that tombstone?
Awful.
Photoshopped at best.
Yeah, and then he says,
man.
And then what he says, at WrestleMania you will. And then the light goes out.
The timing was horrible.
And then he comes back, the lights come up, and he's in the ring.
Didn't he say, as I was saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Rest.
Oh my.
He
He said, as I was saying, basically correcting.
He did say that. He did.
Yeah.
I have the note right there.
Oh.
That was terrible.
Possibly one of Undertaker's worst segments of all time.
It was bad. It was just, it didn't sell the match for me.
Oh.
It didn't.
He didn't need to be in that ring.
No.
He shouldn't have showed up.
No. Well, I mean, here's the thing. He at that point he didn't need to show up.
It's so bad.
Like after that long.
God, that was bad.
Those terrible vignettes. He didn't need to show up.
I didn't even remember how bad it was until we just reenacted it.
Yeah, no, it was. The whole episode, I was sitting there like, what is this? What am I watching? This is terrible. It's 2017.
Yeah.
This is not good. And then he kind of puts his arms down and the thunder and the lights going out and it was just bad.
You know, they say Bray Wyatt's the new Undertaker gimmick, but the thing is, does Bray do all of these goofy light things, or he just walks out with his light with the lights dimmed, right?
Yeah,
but then again, what am I saying? They have this thing with Orton now,
stuff.
And that's really goofy, right?
Yeah.
The Sister Abigail stuff. But I don't know. I'm not. Maybe it's my age, but I'm not into these. I'm not into these super gimmicks anymore. I'm really not.
Like Undertaker, Bray Wyatt, or anything.
Yeah, I'm honestly. Sometimes I actually, and you hear this a lot. I've been hearing this more and more. Some people miss Biker Taker. They do. And I think it's because he was just he was an ass kicker. But think of when he was Biker Taker, just like the moments with Maven. Those were kind of cool moments. Well, he's just this destroyer.
Well, how many times over the years have I said one of my favorite versions of The Undertaker was Big Evil?
Big Evil's wicked.
Yeah, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I know you hated his music he came out with and whatnot, but his character,
Yeah.
that could be one of the best heels of all time. He was nasty.
He was nasty.
He nasty?
He had a great feud there with Lesnar when Lesnar had broken away from Paul Heyman.
Oh, Lesnar was the face?
Yeah, Lesnar was the face and Undertaker was the heel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, and he against Hogan. That was great.
Oh yeah,
he was heel.
He was heel against Hogan. Yeah. Well, he beat Hulk Hogan, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, for the title.
With that amazing choke slam.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I often miss things about Biker Taker,
Yeah.
and I was reading online when he was coming back for Wounds, which some people were like, I hope he's coming back as Biker Taker, and I don't know.
I wish he did.
I don't know. I'm kind of done with the Phenom stuff. He's kind of tweener anyways now. He does his MMA striking when he's in the ring. I don't know. I kind of wish he doesn't necessarily need to be Biker Taker per se, but I almost kind of wish he would have ended his career on just shoot Undertaker, Mark Calloway. I'm going to fight my way. I'm going to talk. He's actually a pretty good talker.
He's not bad
when he talks as himself. Mm-hmm. But when he's the dead man, it's getting dumb. It's getting so dumb. But do you remember how his mic work? We were talking at the start of our podcast as Big Evil. Mm-hmm. He was pretty good.
Oh yeah, he was good. Biker Taker was good. That Texas accent would come out, and he just he was just
they announced him from Texas and everything. It was pretty badass.
He was the bad dude, yeah.
Oh yeah, and now again they don't say which state he's from.
From Death
Valley or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they add that mystery, the mystique to him, and it's getting kind of old. You kind of want to almost know more about him now, and
well, how many times have we said too? We
don't know much about him.
We want to hear him on a podcast.
We would, and I would actually love to see a true documentary about him.
Yeah.
Because you see all these old photos about Mark Calloway and all of these things that he's done, but we know very little about him. We've seen very little shoot interviews with him. The only one I can think of as of late is when he was interviewed in the UFC a few years ago in the crowd, mm-hmm. and Brock walked by him. But there's very little we know about him. And when he was Biker Taker / Big Evil, that was the closest thing we got to the real guy. Mm-hmm. And now back to this, I don't know. He's almost more gimmicky than ever, and I don't know.
No, and the thing about it is that again, it's 2017. Even younger people know that wrestling is not real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, guys. It's a work.
But, it's... that this guy is not a real dead man.
Right.
Back in, in the early 90s when he first came around.
That was great.
And it was different. And it was that, and maybe that's part of it too. It was different.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've seen him for years. It's just
the pops he was getting when his lights would go dark, even years ago, even when he returned. You remember as a dead man and he fought Kane?
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like you remember when you heard Paul Bearer? Oh yes, it was great. But now when the lights go off, the crowd doesn't react like they used to.
No, not as crazy.
No, I think they're getting tired of the gimmick. Also, he's not as good of a wrestler as he used to be, and I think it's his time. He definitely deserves everything, Hall of Fame and whatnot, but I think he's done. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. I wish he was fighting Cena because Cena would assist him. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be any assisting here. Like Roman Reigns is pretty green still. Undertaker's pretty injured. It's going to be messy.
It could be messy. We might be in for a surprise. Who knows?
I'll be 100% honest. Next podcast, I'll be honest. Oh, that was pretty good. Yeah. But I don't think it will be.
No. I'd be happy to see it turn out to be a good match, but hard to say.
No, if Roman Reigns turns heel in that match, I'll probably be actually kind of happy.
Yeah.
That was better than what I thought. But I don't think anything like that will happen.
He killed The Undertaker.
Oh, my God. He legitimately. He took a gun out of his pocket and shot him. What the? This wasn't supposed to happen.
He's holding his head in his hands.
Roman, you took this a little too far.
You told me to turn heel.
Yeah, it was my Roman Empire, so I took his head off.
Put it on a stick.
You're going to jail. Anyways, all right. So that was that.
Stop the damn match.
JR. My God,
His head's on a stick. Oh my goodness.
he has broke him in half, literally. All right. After that, the Roman Reigns and Undertaker segment. It was a 3-man tag segment. It's again backstage. I do believe it was backstage. All 6 guys were just hitting each other with ladders. Did you watch this?
It wasn't a backstage segment. No, it was supposed to be Enzo and Cass versus the Club for some reason.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah. I marked it as a segment. That's why I got confused. It was actually supposed to be a match.
It was a match, yeah.
Yeah.
Anderson came down. One thing that really bugged me here is that Anderson was wearing the belt.
Okay.
But he's wearing it backwards. It really irked me.
Is that Carl?
That's Carl Anderson.
He always has that. He starts everything off with the belt backwards and he rotates it front.
Bugs me. Shouldn't be done.
Is it like a sign of disrespect?
Disrespectful to the belt.
Jeez. Coming from the guy that knows the belt.
So basically, it's supposed to be Enzo and Cass versus the Club, but out comes Cesaro and Sheamus, and they take out the Club with a ladder. Oh, a ladder! You don't say. And then they take out Cass and Enzo, and then the Club comes back in and takes out everyone, including Enzo. They knock him off the top rope with the ladder, and Corey Graves, with another one of his lines, says, "Philly hasn't seen a home run like that since Ryan Howard stopped playing." Right.
I'm laughing because it's Corey, but I know you're a big baseball fan. That's certainly why I didn't mark it.
No, Ryan Howard, he played first base for the Phillies.
All right.
For years.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Phillies. So, anyways, that's why it was so funny. But anyways, yeah, so more with the ladder. And again, they hadn't announced the ladder match yet. But with all these ladders, I was just like, I wonder if they're going to announce a ladder match.
Man, I am not at all excited for this match. I made no notes on what you just discussed.
I wish this one could have gone on the pre-show.
Yeah.
This
I'll be
should've
honest
been
with you. I'm not a Club fan. I'm not an Enzo and Cass fan. And I'm only a small portion of a fan of Sheamus and Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I wanted to love the Club. Like, I really liked Gallows and Anderson. I saw them a bit in Japan.
Okay.
And the thing is, they're good wrestlers. Got a great finishing move. But again, they haven't... they certainly haven't been...
Like the Magic Killers?
Yeah, Magic Killers was called. They haven't been super exciting. I think that has to do with them. I think they're kind of being held back a little bit, though. Like, they've got personalities. Like, you saw that Southpaw Championship Wrestling or Southpaw Regional Wrestling? You watch that at all?
No.
You haven't?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you need to look that up, my friend.
Okay.
Anyways, look it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like, again, I've mentioned this before. Gallows seems to be a semi-stiffer wrestler. I like his sidekick and whatnot. It's pretty cool. I don't know much about Carl Anderson. Carl. Is it Carl?
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah,
Anderson.
Carl Anderson, Gallows. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they are being held back to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
They continue to try and reconnect him and AJ Styles, but they're not together. Even at the red carpet, they were cross-referencing each other. I don't know. Don't know where they're going with it. I'd even read rumors that someone thought that Anderson and Gallows were going to help AJ Styles, and AJ was going to help them. I don't think whatsoever that's going to happen. I think they're completely disconnected at WrestleMania. Do you agree with me?
No, I don't see them happen.
No.
I never even crossed my mind.
No, they haven't been a thing for how many months now?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever.
They don't ever, like, I keep calling them the Club.
Sure,
but
yeah.
they never reference them as the Club.
No,
they
it's
never
just easier and shorter to call them the
It's
Club.
just they never reference anything to do with the Club. So, no, it's not happening. I agree.
Okay, so this segment or match, whichever you want to call it, followed by a backstage interview with Kevin Owens and Charlie. KO reminds Charlie, is it Charlie or Charlie?
Charlie Crusoe.
Charlie Crusoe.
Yeah.
So KO reminds Charlie that Jericho was never his best friend. He admitted at one time he was a Chris Jericho fan. He stated he was right for making fun of him for being a Chris Jericho. What did I say here? He stated he was right for making fun of him. Oh, so Jericho was right for making fun of Kevin Owens for being a Jericho fan, as Chris Jericho fans are essentially morons. He says he feels bad for wasting his parents' money. He says he's going to rip Sami Zayn apart tonight in his match, where Sami, if he loses, he's fired. And he can't wait to be the guy that finally sends Sami Zayn home for good.
Yep. And he says, in 6 days at KO Mania 2.
It was great, eh?
He's going to take the U.S. title and turn the Ultimate Thrill Ride into Chris Jericho's ultimate demise.
Nice. Maybe we should call this podcast The Ultimate Thrill Ride. Nah.
Let's not.
Let's not and say we didn't.
Sure. I'm good with both of those things.
So that led to the actual match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and this was the last... you know what? Actually, it wasn't... I don't think it was the last segment, but actually my PVR stopped recording after this.
Well, that was the last match, though.
Okay.
It was the last match. Okay. So, again, as a reminder, if Zayn loses this match, he's fired. If he wins, he's entered into the Battle Royal at the kickoff show on WrestleMania 33.
Yeah.
So I'm noted that could this indeed be the
burial of Sami Zayn?
Little bit of a previous podcast reference there. So the fight essentially broke out into the crowd. I didn't make too many notes on this match. I don't know if I'm getting bored of seeing Sami and KO fight each other all the time. I think I am. So I didn't really go all in depth into the match.
I made less notes than you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn, one eye swelling shut, looking like Popeye the Sailor Man. That would be a quote from Corey Graves.
Of course it was.
It was too good to not note. Kevin Owens was going to do his signature roll into the corner, into Sami Zayn. But Zayn caught him with an exploder suplex. That was kind of cool. Zayn did his signature tornado DDT through the turnbuckle. I'm sorry, but it's so slow. It doesn't look smooth. I'm not a fan of it. It's I don't know.
Well, one thing I noticed that there, even after that though, there's a lot of people I think that agree with you because there wasn't much of a crowd reaction.
Nope.
Actually, it was pretty sort of dead for a Philly crowd altogether.
Yeah. Actually, overall, the whole night it was pretty dead.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They were not.
Wasn't quite what you would expect.
There weren't even a lot of boos. You know how you'll say if they hate something, they weren't even into hating stuff.
No. They must have been tired.
Well, maybe
it was a long day.
Sami Zayn jumped over Kevin Owens, who was attempting the pop-up powerbomb, and turned it into a blue thunder bomb. That was kind of smooth. That was well done. Samoa Joe came out, but Jericho was soon to follow, but not from the ramp. I think Jericho came from the crowd. He struck Samoa Joe with a chair, which distracted Kevin Owens, who was rolled up.
He rolled him up.
Sami Zayn for the win. So, geez, we didn't see that coming. We thought Sami Zayn was going to be fired and never appear on WWE TV ever again.
What gets me about this match is twice in a row, Kevin Owens destroys Sami Zayn. Just destroys him.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Sami Zayn can just beat him. And it's, and it wasn't a convincing win because he rolled him up after distraction and everything. But there was so much back and forth.
Yeah, agreed.
It was just so weird.
Yeah, one match to another there's no consistency.
Yeah.
So Kevin Owens started beating down on Sami Zayn. I guess he was pretty upset that he lost. And Jericho re-enters the ring. And he struck KO with a chair 3 times before KO managed to roll out. And I believe it was Jericho that got on the mic, and he goes, "Hey, Kevin Owens, you know what happens? You know what happens when you betray Chris Jericho?"
You just made the list!
Thank you, James. No one does it better than you.
Except maybe Chris Jericho, but
Yeah, you're right.
I'm a close second.
Every time I try to do it, it sounds horrible. I'm like, I leave James do that part. So that was that. That was the match.
That was the match and the end segment there.
We finish off Raw with a Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg segment.
Yeah, this is gonna be all you because again my PVR stopped, so I missed it completely.
Oh, okay. Well, Goldberg chants started, but changed to Suplex City chants while Lesnar and Paul Heyman were out.
Yeah, well, Lesnar's got lots of fans, so
Yeah. It seems like the crowd's kind of torn sometimes. I don't know. Maybe 60-40 Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg's a face, right? So you're going to get a lot of younger crowd cheering for the good guy. Paul Heyman goes, boo! And he looks at somebody in the crowd. I beat you to it. I don't know what he was trying to like time the crowd, and he was waiting for boos, and he says it and looks at a crowd member.
that's funny.
Actually, it was kind of funny. He goes, my client lusts that title. My client needs that title. I thought that was weird. Lesnar, for the longest time, has been portrayed as someone that doesn't need the title. And he doesn't, right? And now all of a sudden, he needs that title. No, Lesnar, probably out of anyone in the WWE, he doesn't need that title.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
John Cena needs it more than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar doesn't need that goal. In fact, he kind of looks funny with the championship because he's that legitimately good. He doesn't need the belt. So it's kind of like, why do you have this right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's actually a compliment to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. No, it's good when he has it, but yeah, I agree. He doesn't really need it.
You know what? It probably looks bad because he's going to lose it to someone.
Well, you have to lose it.
I know,
Not gonna
but
hold on
it's
to it
to who
forever.
he's going to lose to.
Yeah, then you wonder.
And in this case, we think he's going to lose it to Roman Reigns if he wins.
Eventually, yeah, that's true.
Boo.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Here's a quote from Paul Heyman. Goldberg, you have my respect. You have my admiration. You are a real-life superhero. Goldberg, you are truly the man. But my client, Brock Lesnar, is the beast and is going to chew you up and spit you out. Really bad things happen to legit superheroes when they step into the ring with my client, Brock Lesnar. It was neat. He was legitimately respecting Bill Goldberg. He wasn't being rude towards him. Actually, he's been doing that lately. I noticed that. But then he just ups his man even more. But it's kind of like, I respect you, Bill Goldberg, but I got someone that's better than you. One person in this company that's better than you. So then I found that Heyman kind of screwed up. He was basically pointing out that if you needed a reason to purchase a ticket at WrestleMania, this was the match that would do it. But then he realizes that Mania's already sold out. So he states, then you'd need to purchase one instead from a secondary ticket outlet. I'm like, from an illegal ticket outlet?
That is funny.
It was funny. You could tell he didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
The crowd kind of laughed because he's like, yeah, WrestleMania sold out. So I guess you'd have to purchase it from a secondary outlet.
StubHub.com.
Yeah, I don't think WWE would ever kind of condone that.
Probably not. I would think not.
Quote from Heyman, you are going to Suplex City where Goldbergs check in, but they don't check out. And another one, my client doesn't fear the spear because Goldberg, you can't survive the F5. So
Lots of quotes.
Goldberg comes out stating he's going to take a little bit of Wrestlemania to Philly. They both charge each other on the ramp. Goldberg plants a solid spear on Lesnar at the foot of the ring.
Cool.
The show ends with Goldberg tearing off his shirt and basically doing a stare down to the wounded Lesnar at the base. The announcers agree that they have their doubts about Lesnar winning at WrestleMania. So it ends another strong Goldberg.
Right.
Pretty much solidifying, in my opinion, Lesnar will win.
Yeah, I don't see Goldberg winning. Especially because, I don't think Goldberg is going to be around really after WrestleMania. So, I definitely see Brock Lesnar winning.
Pretty good spear, though.
Cool.
I want to say.
I think I saw a clip of the spear outside the ring, and it looked pretty decent for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the show, James.
That was Raw for this week, eh?
That was the Raw of this week. And on to WrestleMania, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. That's now we're definitely less than 48 hours away, so
We're very close.
very excited.
Time to kick off our show, or end our show.
End off the show, actually.
End off, not kick off.
Kick off.
We're going to end our show
Okay.
with the Raw S&M. James, what was your favorite match?
Favorite match? Probably. Yeah, I'd say probably KO and Sami Zayn at the end there. That's probably the best match, which kind of says
There wasn't much to choose from.
there was not a lot.
These were hard, ladies and gents. These were hard to answer this week, I must say.
Yeah.
I agree, by the way. Worst match, I wrote Sasha and Bailey versus Nia and Charlotte.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. I originally wrote Austin Aries and who did Aries fight? Noam Dar.
Oh, yeah?
Mainly because of Noam Dar.
Yeah.
That match was nothing special. But I balanced the two out. I thought of the two. I legitimately had to think, and I actually replaced it. I thought Sasha, Bailey, Nia, and Charlotte, it was messy, and it was a little worse.
So did you think that it was worse than the over-the-top rope challenge match?
I may have forgotten about the over the top.
Because I'm going to say that was my worst match.
Wow. You know what? That one was so junky. I think I looked at that as a segment.
As a segment, yeah.
Wow.
'Cause I think technically it was supposed to be a match.
God,
right?
that was terrible. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're very much right. I missed that. I even reviewed my notes on what matches had occurred, and I actually remember I did not see that one. Yeah, of course that was the worst one. It was terrible. Sorry for ladies of WWE. You know we're near that terrible match.
Sasha and Bailey, Nia, and Charlotte.
You've been redeemed.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah. Best segment, by far, Triple H and Seth Rollins, in my opinion. Yourself?
I would go with that as well, yes.
Worst segment, I put Austin Aries and the New Day. You didn't see that, but that was a hunk of garbage.
Yeah, so since I didn't see it, I can't really choose it. So I'm going to say, actually, Reigns Undertaker, I thought was pathetic.
Yeah, that sucked.
I thought it was bad, too.
That was absolutely terrible. But Aries and New Day was worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Overall, what it should have been to scale, because let's face it, this is New Day.
Yeah.
To scale, your choice would make more sense. Because that's supposed to be amazing.
And the odd part about that segment is that it truly wasn't Reigns' fault.
It's true. It's damn true.
Sorry, Undertaker, but it just didn't work.
It was almost, Undertaker was actually the weaker link of the two.
He was the weaker link of the two.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I don't know.
What
It's
is
bizarro
going
world.
on? This is bizarro world.
Yeah. All right. So that is it, I believe. Okay.
James, we've hit the 3 hour and 32-minute mark.
This is definitely the longest podcast we've had so far.
This is by far a record. You know WrestleMania is around the corner when we're hitting these times.
Lots to talk about, which is...
It's a good podcast, though.
It was good. I think so. We had lots of good conversation.
Hope our fans liked it.
I hope so. And again, if you're listening to us on iTunes or anything, if you could give us a 5-star rating, that'd be amazing. That would really help us out.
Yeah, guys.
And leave some comments. We're gonna be posting this very shortly. Well, I guess it'll already be posted by the time you're listening to this. And we'll go from there. I don't know if there's a whole.
We'll do our best to get that up definitely before WrestleMania, just so you guys can listen to it and get our feels before the big moment. Because we are looking forward to WrestleMania. Some matches more than others, but it's gonna be a long day. Get your sleeping bag ready.
Yeah,
this is gonna be a long one.
But it's gonna be regardless. It's gonna be the ultimate thrill ride.
Oh God. On that note, is there anything else, James?
I think we're good.
All right, guys. We will catch you next time.
Yeah, ciao for now.